excited. I like it.
I'm gonna text you.
Quieter, not louder.
Louder.
Right. Okay, welcome everybody. We're gonna start with our business meeting this morning. And it's gonna be a expedited meeting because we have a special guest.
Special guest.
Does everybody know? Does everybody know about our special guest and our special class today?
It's a surprise.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So we have Ryan Yarbrough from our regional tech trader.
All the way from Tampa.
All the way. And he's going to be teaching a class on command. So it's going to be really cool, high level class. I think you're going to get a lot out of it. So to get started, let's everybody get up and get some energy going
Just sat down.
and go through our beliefs.
All right.
Win-win.
Or no deal.
Integrity.
Do the right thing.
Customers.
Always come first.
Commitment.
In all things.
Communication.
Seek first to understand.
Creativity.
Ideas before results.
Teamwork.
Together everyone achieves more.
Trust.
Starts with honesty.
Equity.
Opportunities for all.
And success.
Results through people.
Woo! So, if you aren't familiar, these are our company values. This is what we believe in, and this is really how we drive our business. It's all very customer focused. Let's invite some of our partners before we really get started. Let's start with Maria.
Hey, Maria.
Good morning, everyone. I just have a little news from Fannie Mae. Now, being that everybody's been, talking about cryptocurrency and all of that stuff, so Fannie had a pronunciation yesterday about crypto. So I'm going to read it to you because there's three bads and two goods. And so let's start with the bads. So Fannie Mae pretty much says income paid in the form of virtual currency may not be considered when qualifying a borrower. I haven't had yet somebody being paid in crypto, so that's not a big one. Assets used to establish continuance for certain income types cannot be in the form of virtual currency. So pretty much they're saying anything crypto cannot happen for them to be approved through their guidelines. But there could be other loans that are like, we know, the non-QMs that could be, we could do that with crypto, but not Fannie or Freddie, which are your conventional loan. Of course, FHA follows that too. The good thing is there's virtual currency that has been exchanged into US dollars is acceptable for down payment, closing costs, and financial reserves. So if we have reserves in Bitcoin or something like that, which I have had some clients, it doesn't count unless they liquidate it, which is kind of sad. So for now, but the good thing is there's a silver lining. Before they weren't even talking about this. So at least now we're talking about crypto and the guidelines. So hopefully at some point we'll be able to take straight up income in Bitcoin because it's coming, or in cryptocurrency. It's about to happen. And then I just had a little something for you I have for you, this is just kind of a trivia because a lot of people ask me, what is an NFT? Do we have anybody who knows what an NFT is?
Non-sufficient funds.
Non-sufficient funds. Well, you're close. NFTs are NFTs.
Oh, NF.
NFTs, non-fundable assets or whatever. I can't remember the thing, but it's non-fundable, meaning that they cannot be. Bitcoin is fundable. These are not, because they have like a DNA identity. That's why you could pay for and they're more like an asset. So you see like a little picture or with maybe with an autograph, and the picture is the asset and will be worth a lot of money. And it could have Bitcoin in it, but the thing is almost like buying art. So they're kind of getting pretty hip. So I'm going to send you the NFTs just for you guys to kind of know, because everybody asks me, what is an NFT? So there you go. And that's it for me today. Thank you. And I'm always there if you want to ask anything else about Fannie and the crypto happiness.
Okay, so Maria, obviously, in-house partner. So, Jacob, is Jacob here?
He's at the other office right now.
Okay, cool. And then Amanda, I don't know if I just saw her, probably busy working on your transactions. Make sure to keep our partners in mind when you're doing your transactions. Red Day, woohoo!
Wow, it's tomorrow.
Who's gonna be there?
Yeah.
Yes, it's gonna be a lot of fun. We're gonna be doing a lot of giving back.
She won't stand up.
He's doing a great job.
And tomorrow, what do we need to know? Shirts, where are we
Yep.
meeting?
So raise of
times?
hands, who's joining us tomorrow?
Everybody. There's
Middle-
there's no parking spaces.
You need to be here.
So whatever shift you have, if you're in morning shift, we'll be here about 8 o'clock or so and we'll can carpool.
The other office will be joining us as well, so
Yeah.
we're gonna need to meet here.
Isn't that like, right, I think there's like a utility office right across from that, so maybe we
It's a
can.
school.
No, there's no parking. It's
The
a school, you
closest-
cannot
No, we
park
can't
there.
park
The
There's a
closest
church
place
next to
is
it.
Presidente grocery store. I think
Grocery
that's what
store,
it
it's a
is.
block away. Yeah, it's a block.
That's all the way at Australia.
Or you can park on the street behind it. You can park on this side of the road.
It's hard, yeah, it's very limited parking. So
So
it'd be really
carpool
good if we could carpool. as
It's the
much as we could.
easiest. I'll be here around 8 o'clock or so. I can fit a few people.
You
all
can
of
fit
us.
5 in yours.
Yes, I can.
Volunteering.
But if you don't have a Red Day shirt, I have them. I'll bring them tomorrow to make sure hat, sunscreen, we'll have lunch. So if you haven't clicked the Eventbrite link to register, that way
You're not
we
getting
can know exactly how many lunches.
No, you're not getting that, I was just kidding.
You won't get lunch.
Why can't, can they get the shirts today?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because you said tomorrow, and I'm like,
I'm-
why wait till
I
tomorrow?
have them here,
You're
but if you
comfortable in it.
can't, you can grab
How
them
much are
tomorrow.
they?
Red Day shirt.
They're 15.
$15 a shirt.
Goes to KW Cares.
Cool. All right. Who has participated in a Red Day before? Very cool. Okay, so about half the room. So Red Day is a worldwide KW event. Most KW offices shut down worldwide for this day in order to give back to the community. There are many ways that we give back to our community, but this is one day where every KW office in the world does it. So we're doing shifts tomorrow, what, 9 to 3, not 9 to 12, 12 to 3?
9 to 12, 11 to 3, 9 to 1, 11 to
It's a
3.
little
something
9
overlap
to
like
for
1,
lunch.
11 to 3. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
overlap for lunch.
All right, cool. So
Shades of gray though, whatever works for your
a
schedule.
couple of the projects are,
We're going to be planting veggies.
Okay.
Planting veggies.
Flowers,
and Flowers, mulch, passing out food, giving back.
awesome. Cool. All right. So for those of you who can make it, this is going to be fantastic. All right. Let's move on to. Okay. Do we?
Sorry, I'm doing an iWatch tutorial. So FES, our wonderful OP will be doing a class at the end of the month on the 26th. He did this, I think at the end of last year, towards the end, maybe
This is
over
a
summer.
huge hit.
It was
huge
one
hit.
of the biggest FES turnouts I think that they had.
Yeah.
And he's gracious enough to do it again. So it'll be the 26th, which is a Thursday, about 1 to 3 or so, depending on how many questions afterwards. There's the QR code to register, the FES link. He does have a little video though, so I'll play that really quick.
Oh, look, James.
Hello everybody, this is James Torrance. Just wanted to invite you to a class that I'm doing around the mindset of luxury. The mindset of luxury. I'm going to be sharing with you my over 38 years of experience in the real estate luxury space with home building and sales and brokerage and luxury sales around what your clients want and need to feel safe to do business with you, to feel safe to choose you. It's an art to this conversation, and I'm really excited about our time together so we can share and talk about how to help your clients feel comfortable making decisions in this environment. So I'm really excited to share this time with you. Please join me for an exciting conversation. You will not be disappointed. It'll be a fast-paced, moving talk and conversation about the mindset of luxury and what your clients are really looking for. Look forward to seeing you there and make it a great day.
Okay.
Mindset, I've heard that word a lot this week.
Couple times, right? Couple times. So if you haven't signed up yet, there's the QR code. I don't see anyone's phones out. Oh, there we go. Okay. Make sure you hit that QR code and sign up. This is gonna be great. Any questions on this? No?
Yeah, May 26th.
Everybody got there?
Go ahead and
It's only
register.
Zoom though, or is
There you
he gonna be here? Is it just Zoom?
Oh, we don't.
go. To be determined.
We will see.
Good? Okay.
Oh,
I
good.
know, I just sent them up because I figured,
Uh-oh.
Hey,
Neil.
There we go. Okay, so, of course, it's Haitian Heritage Month, right? And next Wednesday is
Potluck.
Haitian
So-
Flag Day, and we're going
Anyone
to be
could really
doing
bring
a
any,
potluck.
anyone can bring any
Yeah.
kind of food, right? Okay. All right.
Any kind of food, food from, you know, a country.
A country,
of
yeah.
Origin. Of course, we're doing it particularly on Haitian Flag Day, which is next Wednesday. So be here if you want to enjoy foods from different cultures and participate in our celebration of diversity.
Can't wait.
I know there's some bananas coming.
Invite your friends from other companies. It's gonna be awesome. Be a lot of fun.
We'll probably have about 40 people, so it'll be a lot of fun.
It is.
Agents come out for food. I don't know what it is.
All right, and as you all know, the shift has hit the fan, so let's talk about that.
Oh,
I like that.
that was fast. I don't, oh yeah, I do have stuff. So last week I ran out of time and we were gonna talk about work on back to 2006. What happened in 2006?
Shift.
A shift?
Oh, sorry. Is that the only one?
How many of you were agents in 2006? Wow, look around, raise your hands and everyone else look around. We have a huge REO agent, we have a huge opportunity, nice seat. We have a huge opportunity coming up because this market is already slowing down. I was talking to Jacob and we have 30% less closings this month than last month. So we went from 32 to 20 something, 21. So we're feeling it. It's already there. If you're buyer agents, if you specialize in buyers, your market's going to change drastically. And if you want to be a listing agent, you need to get prepared for that now. So what happened to the market in 2006? Does anyone, now the agents that were here, you know what happened in 2006.
Yeah.
But in South Florida, it was a little different. Do you guys remember what events happened in 2005? What happened in South Florida or in Florida in 2005? You didn't have to be an agent to have experience.
Everything was crazy.
Wilma, 3 angry women in 1 year. Who were the other 2? It was Wilma and then there was 2 in August. Katrina was there, didn't hit us as hard as the other ones. And was the other one Francis or?
Charlie,
There was 3.
Charlie, Francis.
And the one that really put us on the map, of course, was Wilma, because it covered the state. I mean, Wilma was the toughest one for us. So we kind of started feeling it here in 2005. Wilma was in October 24th or 25th or something. So every other house had a blue tarp on it. It just tore up South Florida. And we started feeling it then. Now, what happened in the mortgage market, because that was our weather down here, we couldn't get anyone to repair houses, we couldn't get drywall, we were getting defective drywall in 2006 and 2007, all of this happened because of Wilma. But then something else happened financially. What happened financially? What was that?
Dodd-Frank and all the rules changed.
Well, that was around 2007, 8 as a result of what happened. So we had some lending issues, right? Because everybody could buy a house. The good news was everybody could buy a house. The bad news was everybody was buying a house. Whether they were qualified or not, we had some very interesting some loans, yeah, or I don't even know if they were loans, it was like 3 signed.
Negative amortization loans.
Arms, we had everything. I mean, it was very creative. I don't want to put any blame on anyone. There was a lot of greed. It was just everyone was to blame. And the victims were the homeowners, right? So they got into houses they couldn't afford, shouldn't have gotten in the first place. And all of them were, you get in at one rate and 3, 4, 5 years later, the rate changes. Well, if you got it in 2005 and 2006 and you had a 3-year arm, you had to do something with that arm. You had to either refi or you accepted the consequences. Well, they accepted the consequences because they couldn't sell their houses or do a refi because their houses were falling apart from the storms. And it kind of like started down here and people kept saying, oh, it's you Florida people. You're doing crazy loans down there. It's all you guys down there. 2 years later, it was all the sand states. It was Texas, California, Arizona, Florida, and the coast, right? Because that's where the vacation homes are, and that's where the retirement homes are, and the investment homes, especially South Florida. So what people were doing when these loans went bad, they couldn't afford to make the payments. If it's an investment property, what happens to the investment property? It's not your primary. So what do you do with the investment when it has problems? You abandon it, right? And so we had a lot going on. So we start to flood the market. Are we ready for another change like that? No. And I was one of those people that said, it will never happen again. The reason it happened will never happen again because we have more controls in place. But we're starting to see arms again.
Yeah.
People can't afford houses right now. They can't afford the mortgage payments the way they are. So arms are back. More FHA, more VA, no skin in the game. So I got this from Black Knight last week, and I wanted to share this with you last week. So here's the change in delinquency rate. This is the 20-year average, and this is 2022 delinquencies. Wow. The green are the delinquencies. The average is the blue. This was March, because that's as far back as we don't have April yet. We're starting to see this happen even before the arms come into place. So what has happened over the last 2 years that could cause these delinquencies?
People lost their jobs.
Lost their jobs, left their jobs, lost their jobs. What else? COVID, yep, pandemic contributed to it.
People doing forbearance.
Forbearance. They're maturing now.
Oh.
Something has to be done with these forbearances. And you can either keep it, they'll tack it on to the back. There's different things that the banks will offer you, but we're starting to see the delinquencies. So we're getting it now. Now, could you be delinquent and still have equity in your house?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So don't kid yourself with these, and that's why we have to watch this. This might be a little hard to see, but the blue is the delinquency rate now, and the green is 2000 to 2005. This spike over here is 2020. So that was COVID, we know that. But the spikes compared to what the averages are out of proportion. So that's why we're monitoring this. I'm not saying we're gonna have a crash. What I'm saying is you need to be prepared with the conversations with your buyers and your sellers. Because when you go on a listing appointment, do you ask anything about their financials? Do you have an exit plan in case something goes wrong at the listing appointment? Right?
Yes.
What if you find out that they're in forbearance? When would you find out about all those things? You go on the listing appointment now, but when do you find out the results of everything? When?
Before you go there, it just help you.
No, when do you typically find out? Just before closing. So you've got the buyer tied up, you got your seller tied up, and then, oh my God, you have a forbearance, you owe $24,000, you owe $50,000, you owe $100,000. Because when you close, we're getting our money. Right? So what happens? Are we asking enough questions? Are we interviewing Or are we just order takers and nodding our head? Are we so excited to get the listing? And we're so afraid of hearing something negative that we just sit there and sign paperwork? Is that what we're doing now?
Great question.
Right?
Yeah.
So at the listing appointment for listing agents, and everybody wants to be a listing agent, you have to ask the right questions. Now, what about the buyer? Do you ask the right questions for the buyer? What if this deal falls apart because the other agent didn't do their job? Does your buyer have an exit plan other than giving them back their earnest money? Because it's not going to get any cheaper for them. The prices are still going up. This one here is a status of loans that have left COVID forbearance plan. So here's April. So the blue are still performing. So they're making their payments. The gray is paid off. Now that's depressing because look how many are still performing. These, nothing has happened to these. They're still going. They're making their payments. It's not, they're making their mortgage payments. They're performing loans. The little gray is what's paid off. The red is the delinquent. Is the delinquent getting smaller or bigger?
Bigger. Wow, active loss mitigation. Wow.
Yeah. And another thing that's happening with loss mitigation, during COVID, the banks released a lot of their services. So loss mitigation was one of the departments to shut down. Asset management was one of the departments that they would release because it's a service. So even if they could put the houses on the market, there's really no one to work it. So a lot of these houses really could be in list pendants, but the banks aren't stupid, right? Because what's happening to the prices of the houses? Right, so they don't want to put it on their books, so they don't want it to go to foreclosure, but they know they can get that house. They're just not prepared for this yet. Because this is active loss mitigation. That means they're working on it.
Oh, so like an REO type thing? Or?
Close to REO. Like they're sitting there, but they don't want to take that next step.
They're NPNs, they're non-performing.
Non-performing,
Yeah.
yeah. So look at this, the paid off, and look what's happening now.
Wow.
So we need to be armed with this information. We need to understand it. We need to know more about distressed properties. So this is the number of active arms. So these are the ones that have already reset. This is February. And the greens have not reset yet. So these things are going to reset. And what's going on? So if I got into an arm, let's go 2020, I got into an arm. My interest rate might have been 3.25. I have to do a refi now to get out of this arm. What's the interest rate now?
5.
I was paying interest only for 5 years, interest only on an arm. Now I have to pay principal and interest. And what do you think it's going to reset at?
9.75.
Do we see a problem?
Big
He's cracking up. Do we see a problem?
Big time.
Yeah.
And how many more rate increases before December?
3.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Does it matter? Because where I was just paying interest a very low rate, now I'm paying interest and principal. What do? Do I sell the house? Where am I gonna go?
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Where am I, because everything I go to now, I can't afford the rent because it'll be more, but I can't do a refi because I have this forbearance sitting on me. So we really have to pay attention and watch it.
Big time.
We really do, right? I think there's one more. No, that's it. So how do you arm yourself for this ship? Do you think you'll have more or less listings in a year?
I think you're gonna have more.
More listings. So what kind of a market are we headed into?
Balanced and into a buyer's market.
Yeah, we're balanced now.
Okay. So
Could
we're
be.
balanced.
We're balanced now. It's balancing out the rest of this year. We're fortunate because in South Florida, we don't get hit by winters. So like our season is all year. We don't have that, okay, it's October, I can't sell my house, so it's gonna be a snowstorm. So we're gonna be good till the end of the year, but it is gonna hit us within a year or so, right? Because these numbers, these loans are there. They're not gonna go away.
We're also probably gonna look at some kind of recession, right?
Look, with everything that's going on right
That's gonna make
now,
it worse.
we are poised for a change in the market. We are definitely, we need to get our act together. We're not order takers. We have to start thinking and asking the right questions. And we need to take control and be armed with the numbers. We really have to know what we're talking about. When you're talking to a seller about listing his house, don't look at the actives, look at the history. Look at what happened 3 months ago. Look at the ones that actually closed and were financed. And then when you do look at the ones that were financed, look at each MLS because it tells you what type of financing they had, or it tells you if it was cash.
Right,
Don't compare yourself.
right,
Don't align yourself with something that doesn't match.
right.
Right? I mean, this is crazy what we're doing. We're looking at houses that sell, and then you notice it's a cash purchase. That doesn't count.
Right.
Unless yours is a cash purchase, you know. And don't give away people's money. Don't give up the appraisal. Look, if they don't get it, they don't get it.
That's right.
Yeah, because it's shifting right now.
Don't-
So now's not the time.
Yeah, so the banks are getting very smart and they're getting extremely conservative, not the banks, the appraisal companies. Well, the banks hire the appraisal companies. They're not gonna be easy on us the next 6 months because they're watching this too, and they don't want to get stuck with these houses.
Right.
So the appraisals are starting to level off into like or just the gap is just getting bigger and bigger.
I have a question. When that did happen around 2006, did rental prices also change or did they stay the same?
Our rental prices were still low back then. We didn't have what we have going on right now. It's different now. And we have, so like now the problem is they can't move into rentals.
Right.
Yeah. So before we could move into rentals, it wasn't a big deal. You could abandon your house, you know.
Yeah, it's just
moving
a
to-
renting, yeah.
We don't
Yeah.
have that anymore.
Yeah, so this is my opinion, right? So in large part, the rental issue we're seeing is localized because so many people are moving to Florida.
Right.
We're not really seeing this nationwide.
Oh,
And so it didn't necessarily have to do with the crash that happened.
Right.
Whereas in this case, again, what's happening with the market and the rental market, in my opinion, are two separate issues. Does that answer your
right. So,
question?
yeah, I'm just trying to kind of get to where I have in my mind, is it gonna change as well? Is
No.
it part of- will they-
No, I think it's going up.
So
No.
I'm just trying to see if. the
I
rental
think because
prices-
it's supply and demand, right?
Yeah.
And I think if people have to leave their houses and the supply goes down, the demand goes up. So the rentals can still go up,
Right.
right? It's all about supply and demand.
But just keep in mind that as those properties are coming onto the market, either through MPNs, they are, and there are a number of hedge funds just sitting on the sidelines, waiting
That's
with
what I was about to
cash
say, yeah.
to buy all the, especially single-family homes, and turn them all into rentals.
Yep,
Yeah.
Okay, so, you
and
know,
they'll have control.
right, and so just keep that in mind as you're going out there with your buyers. Just let them know, listen, you know, it's whatever the strategy you have for your buyers, for your sellers, that's part of it too. Because that's my space. That's where I am at
Right.
with the hedge funds. That's what they have. They're just sitting on the sidelines waiting
They're
for that
waiting.
dip to happen so they can flood the market with cash. Because that's gonna keep the price up, number one, and especially the single family homes and in communities that don't have any sort of restrictions, we're gonna see this happen a lot in South Florida.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of signs, of course, in what's going on. The first thing is we're watching the arms. They're really making us nervous. There's a lot of new financing going out. They're not no doc loans, but you know, the loans where they're looking at your bank account and you don't have to. The bank statement thing scares me. Whenever we get creative like that, it scares me.
Yep.
Right? And the affordability, people are almost forced to go into an ARM if they want to move into a house right now. Look, I can't afford the rent. I can't afford this payment right now. My job will be okay in 3 years because the prices are going up, so I'm okay with an ARM. What are you gonna do? This is exactly the predicament we were in before. People were like, okay, the market's going great. It's 2006, 2007. Everything's fine. I'll go get an ARM and I'll buy 3 houses. And that's what we did, right? So it's not doom and gloom, it's be prepared.
But my question is to go back, wasn't that Frank was created just because of those type of loans? How they managed to come back?
So the Dodd-Frank, no, that wasn't about the loans. That was about RESPA and closings and having a time to review all the documents, so there was no surprises. Because we were flipping documents at the closing table, right? I mean, at the closing table, like, oh, look, I got a better thing for you, you know? And so there, that's where the 3-day gap came in. There was RESPA, there was more. You couldn't, you know, there was restrictions on anyone that had to do with the closing, loan officers, agents. So that was a little, and then Dodd-Frank put some other protections in, but it didn't stop. So we can still do arms. There's nothing wrong with an arm. The timing is, the reason and the timing right now is not good. Interest rates are going up. You get an arm now, interest only. When you have to refi or cash out, the interest rates will be triple from what you went in. That's the problem. If they couldn't afford it back then, how are they going to afford it in 3 years or 5 years?
And then a little bit more to answer Chris's question with what Izzy was talking about with these hedge fund companies, right? What was Blackstone's, for example?
Blackstone.
What was their goal when they first got into buying up all these houses?
Lease options.
Lease options, buy and hold, right?
What was their goal?
Rent
What was
to
their
buy.
goal?
Buy to rent it out.
For how long?
I think what from Natasha was saying, it was like 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
10
they
years.
decided not to.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
So does that answer your question, Chris?
They
So
flip the
you have
script.
these giant hedge fund companies who are going to sell in 10 years. And then they realize, wait, there's so much money to be made in the rental market that they're now keeping.
Yeah.
And like Izzy said, they're
Waiting.
waiting so that they can then grow that portfolio rather than flip it.
This is a waiting game right now. So you just need to be prepared.
So here's the thing that concerns me, Dolores, is that we offer so many opportunities for you guys to become great listing agents. And when we
The room's not full
the
like
pool
this.
is not, it's like when we're lead generating, guys, we learn how to lead generate off of one another who are setting appointments. And I've been through market shifts and I've seen what it is and what it takes when you're sitting there making 20 contacts a day. Now you have to double and triple that, right? Because a team like a Tricoli or someone else, they'll hire 5 or 6 ISAs and they'll put you out of business.
Yeah.
Right. So here's what I'm saying. This is a skills-based business. You got to have skills. You got to know how to close 6, 7, 8 times. You have to know how to show your value. You have to know how to show them the reason why they should hire you as an agent. So this is Broadway, like it's showtime, and it will change on you on a dime. And then you start looking at your family and you start wondering, what just happened? What just happened? So I mean, for me, I'm intense about it because I've been through it in the ups and downs, and so for me it hits home. And when we all lead generate every single day, you got to do it daily. You need the script practice. You need to know what to say, and how to handle objections. Because I'm telling you, when the stuff shifts, it's going to be for the agent that has the skills that's going to take this on. And you have the REO agents that they're gearing up and they're flexing their muscles, right?
They're just
They're
sitting
flexing their
there.
muscles, man. They're holding
Just
on.
waiting.
They're building up their lines of
Yeah.
credit. They're building up their refis. I mean, this is serious stuff that Dolores is presenting to us. So for those of you guys who've never been through this, I'm telling you, start getting ready.
This is not the time to sit back and
Right.
watch. That or start looking for a job. Because it's not, you have to perfect your skills now.
Yeah.
Don't wait. Don't say, well, I'll come to a class next week. Or no, I know that stuff. I don't need to be here. No, you cannot hear things enough, practice enough. You've been through it, you know. And I'll do a shameless plug. We are going to do a distressed property class, the 3-hour SES class in July. And it's all about the scripting. So June? Oh.
Even better. And start planning, right? And start planning for yourselves, because this is an opportunity.
Yeah.
A lot of people scoop up a lot, grow their portfolio during these times. So
As is true, like right now, me and my partners, we're sitting on 500,000.
Everyone's.
Yep.
We're
Start
just waiting to
saving,
buy.
start waiting. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So.
Cool.
I can't do it because you took me out. He took it out of the PowerPoint. All right, so we have a special guest. You're in for a real treat. I know you guys know command, inside out.
No, you're wrong.
Right? On a scale of 1 to 10,
Yes.
how many are you are tens in command?
One.
2. Oh, look at this, 3 people. That's so awesome. You can leave.
Man.
No, but it's not often that we get the region, you know, people from up on the hill to come down and talk to us. But we have our very own tech trainer, right? So we have everybody in the next couple of weeks. And then we have the regional guru of all technology. Where are you? Get in here, Brian. Brian Yarbrough. I always say Tampa, but they're not really Tampa, right? Clearwater. So all the complaints that we have, oh, I know, the suggestions for command. Go to him.
Actually, there's this website, it's called ideas.kib.com. That's the perfect place to go, because guess what? You get to go in there, you get to vote, and the more votes you get up, Gary Keller has on his calendar a time block. Every Monday for 15 minutes, he goes to that website, looks for your votes. And if you voted something up, chances are it's going to get in there, but it takes you guys voting it up. So don't give them to me, because I can't do anything on this. I'll listen to you, and I'll agree with you, but I can't do anything. All right, so can I steal this from you?
Of course. All yours.
I need something in front of me, 'cause my laptop. We're good to go?
We're good to go.
Okay, I'm good to go too.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
I want some real secrets that nobody else knows.
Secrets. So it's actually, I didn't discuss this meeting ahead of time with them, but everything we're gonna talk about in this class today has exactly to do with what you were just talking about, which is the skills based on being a real estate agent. So she said, I'm gonna sit here and talk to you about command and reality. I'm gonna talk to you about being a real estate agent. I am a real estate agent. Love it. And I was part of that shift. I was living in a $1.5 million home right on the water up in Tarpon Springs, Florida, and then the market shifted and my house all of a sudden became $700,000. And I had to dump it and get out of it quick because I was going to the golf course down the street taking showers because I couldn't afford all those bills all of a sudden. It wasn't fun. Moved to Tennessee. Opened my own brokerage there because the market was well behind there. I was hoping that I could still make a living there, and I did pretty well. Started my own mom and pop company, hired a broker at first, got my license there, and became a broker myself, worked it for a few years, and moved back to Florida. And so this is not how I want to live my life in the cold. It's nice and warm here in Florida, so I'm coming back. When I got back down here, I decided to get back in real estate, and I didn't want to be a broker anymore, so I went to Keller Williams, which allowed me to kind of be like a brokerage within a brokerage. So a lot of these indie companies that we bring to Keller Williams, that was me. It was an indie when brought it to Keller Williams. I saw the value here. I walked in and saw God family real estate. How do I
Take it
plug
off.
into these?
Yeah, take it off presenter.
Put my HDMI cord into there?
Unless you just want to go towards Zoom and share the computer.
Neil, why aren't you here, man? Oh, in the hallway. Where's the aisle? All right, I'll see you a little bit later. So I'll just. You know what, I'll just use your computer then. I'll log in here. Sorry, if you guys need to do something for just a second, let me log in. I'll be ready. If I talk too fast, tell me to slow down. Your MCT fed me a whole bunch of Cuban coffee this morning. So,
That's
How many guys have your two-factor authentication on? Hope so.
You want us to put our command on it? We have it.
You might want to follow along with it. It might help.
I will ring it down.
Okay.
You don't need to see him log it.
Is that good?
So they're calling you little girl. I know, right? I remember when she was like.
They're grown, they're like, don't rush it. You're right, don't rush it.
Then we got nothing to look forward to anymore.
Yeah, you do, you got 40. That's why we doing some insurance for thank you.
Here we go.
I just put it on there. I said I can marry you. Just call me.
Yeah, that's what I told her. Because I said there's anyone that you couldn't do as long as it wasn't super rough. I just helped. Should I analyze it? But there we go.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Ryan.
Do you need it?
Your technology director is based on so much. All right, so we're all good. All right, so this is a contact contract class. I've taught this class so many times. It's one of my favorite classes to teach because it actually is going to connect from the very beginning to the very end of not just using command, but just using any system really. But command was designed off of the MREA, so that's what we're going to talk mostly about today. I carry my book with me pretty much every single where. I definitely talk back to it every single time. I've got all these little notes in here everywhere, and those are everywhere where technology touches the MREA. Is what all those little yellow sticky notes are. So we're going to be bringing this up a lot. I'm going to probably throw it around a few times. But if I speak too fast, please feel free to raise your hand and say, hey, Ryan, slow down, okay? So first of all, I want to make sure that you guys know why I'm here speaking to you, why I'm in the position I'm in. I am from Clearwater, Florida. I was born there, and then I spent the first 5 years of my life in the UK, and then moved after that back to Utah. Lived there and got made fun of all the time for my little Scottish accent I had. And then I lived in Utah for 5 years, and then moved back to Florida, and then just kept on moving around a lot. So I kept on saying, "Hey, I want this cold," and then I'm like, "No, I don't want this cold." Pretty much. I go to church regularly. It's a big part of my life. And that was big to me when I was talking about earlier, when I came to Tyler Williams, it was God, family, and then real estate. So that was really a big, important part of this for me. I've got 3 little girls. I was married, I'm not divorced. I go hiking a lot, especially love that during COVID because it made it a lot more fun for me to be able to get out and do something. I work on my house a lot. In fact, during COVID, I pretty much tore down almost all inside of my house, like most of you probably did, remodeled a lot of it. I spent a lot of my time researching on investing. I've been an agent for 15 years. 10 of that has been with Keller Williams. I served on the ALC Market Center for 8 years, as it says, and I have a small team in the Tampa Bay area. So anything in Pasco, Pinellas, or Hillsborough County, we pretty much work. We even go down to Sarasota County a little bit in the northern part of Sarasota. Also, so my mission here is to serve our agents by helping them build big businesses worth owning and lives worth living. I want to empower agents to use the MRA existing models to achieve their goals. The reason that is because when I first started at Keller Williams, I thought I knew everything, and I thought I could do it on my own. Then I started learning their systems and models and learned that I was doing everything wrong, and I kept on trying to do the things I was doing in the past. And when I submitted to the models and systems, my business skyrocketed. All right. So I'm going to ask you for a favor. This is a bit of a long class. If you guys need a break, raise your hand. I'll stop the class and break. But the most important thing is please participate. And when we get done, please give me a review so I can know where to get better. All right. Breakfast of Champions is going to be feedback. All right. So make sure if you get a chance at the end, you give me feedback. And I'll put the link up there to where you guys can go give me that feedback. So command MRA's models and systems. So you want to give $1 million. First thing you got to do is you got to think $1 million. You got to earn $1 million, you got to net $1 million, receive $1 million, then you can give that $1 million. How great would it be for everybody here to be able to give $1 million? So think with that in mind, okay? That's what you can do. So you have to have a value proposition. We're going to talk a lot about that in today's class, is how to give that value proposition. And what we were talking about a little bit ago is you're going to have those skills, and those skills are going to be part of that value proposition. Also, service plan here, you have a service plan. I hope you have a service plan because we're going to talk about that quite a bit when we get to the opportunity stage. Your database, though, is your foundation of everything. So that's where we're going to start everything off. So we're going to start in database, and then we're going to go into your service plan and your value proposition. So let's just go ahead and dive into command. I am talking about command today. However, you can insert this really, if you're using something else, follow-up box, sync, Google, Gmail, contest. That's a database too. You can use whatever you want. It doesn't have to be command. Command just makes it easy because you've already got it coordinated to be set up for MRA. So if you never even logged into command, it's agent.cater.com. You don't use command on the judge, it's completely fine.
No, we have to here.
Well, you do have to because you have to get paid, and that's where it gets submitted. However, what I'm meaning is if you're not using it as your main CRM. All right, so when you log in, main thing really quick, some setup. This command is set up to be just like this thing right here in my palm. Okay, it's your cell phone. It is an operating system. So in your cell phone, you have applications, right? So when I turn on my phone, I've got all these different applications in here, and your command does too. They all live down the left-hand side instead of being scattered across the screen. Command also has a marketplace, just like your phone does, so you can go get more applications. So click on the marketplace, it opens it up there. Command has a dashboard at the front, and it has widgets on it, just like your cell phone does. I've got a time widget on mine, I've got a calendar widget on there, and what that does is just give me tiny little glimpses right into what my day might look like, or what the weather's going to be like, or I can get a real quick so what song I'm gonna play next, right? These are all little widgets, just give you quick glimpses, but if you actually click on that widget, it'll open up the entire application. Command does the same thing, and you can set that up by customizing it right here at home. If you're on a team, you can set up a leaderboard, and you can see on that team who's doing better at what based on that leaderboard. But again, you have to customize it and bring it to the top. That's just a quick housekeeping part of it, telling you what command can do. Main thing is we're going to talk MREA, which is going to consist of contacts. We're going to talk a little bit about tasks, smart plans, and opportunities. All right, those are the things that make up MREA. Contacts, because Gary Keller in this book here talks about how he's got this little black shoebox that he carried around, and he put a little card in there and it had his contact's name on it. Well, you've got a little more advanced black shoebox now. It's called Command, and it keeps all your contacts in there, and you can keep them up to date. We're going to talk about how to enter those a little bit. I know that sounds kind of juvenile, putting a contact in that sounds normal. We put that in our phone all the time, right? We're actually going to get into the meat and potatoes of why you're putting certain things in there and how that's going to make you more money. All right. And then we're going to turn that into a system so that you can not have to think so much and just start dialing for dollars. All right. And then we're going to put those into opportunities and how you can turn that into a system within there that makes so you don't let things slip through the cracks. Just showing your value. So that's the goal for today. At the end of the class, we're going to dive in DocuSign for a little bit. I'm going to show you how to write an offer in 5 minutes. So that ties into this because you're going to have to understand the templates. So if you hold up to the end, it will be worth it. All right, so contacts. Any questions so far?
Will you have those templates for us that we can?
I'm going to show you how to make them. I can't give them to you except for one of them. I can give it to you if I wanted to, but it's better that you do it because they're going to be based on your local contracts that you have. But the other ones are actually intentionally made so that you have to create them yourself because everybody writes their contracts differently. But absolutely, I'll show you how to do them, and you'll hopefully you guys time block. If you don't, that's the one thing I learned as an agent early on that saved my life is time blocking. I live by my calendar. Time block on your calendar, time to sit here and do what I'm going to show you at the end, which is create the templates. They'll save you a ton of time in the end. One of my favorite phrases, Franco's probably getting tired of hearing me say it, is sometimes you got to slow down and go fast. And it's very much true. That's one thing I've learned. If you slow down, then you can go fast later on. I've had to slow down many times in my business. I've built a big team, and then my team has slid back. Built a big team, and it's slid back. So you got to slow down and go fast, okay? Anybody? Oh, we didn't get those.
No,
You can do that. All right, so where are my contacts right here? I'm just going to create a new contact. And if you guys want to go ahead and work this along with me, this will be a lot more helpful for you. You'll remember it a lot better if you actually do it along with me. So is anybody willing to let me pick on them a little bit?
Sure.
All right, great. So what is your first name?
Stephanie.
Is that the PH?
Yeah.
What's your last name?
Edison, Edison.
Like that?
Yep.
All right, so Stephanie, are you married?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to add a relationship in here. And what is your spouse's name?
Eric, E-R-I-K.
Last name same?
Yep.
You have to ask nowadays. So I'm going to go ahead and add, and then I'm going to go back in here and make sure his name did show up. Now, when you do put this name in here, it will add a contact if they're not already in there, okay? So don't keep on adding and adding and adding. There's a contact in there. You'll have to go back to it later and add more information. You can't do that from right here because we're in this contact. But Eric should be associated with this. There he is. So now they're added. Why is this important?
So you might buy something together from.
Absolutely. And when you go to create an opportunity, it puts both the names together. All right. The other reason it's important is because if you, how long have you been selling real estate?
5 years.
Okay. So in that 5 years, have you ever sent a mailer out? All right, great. So when you send those mailers out, do you like sending one to the husband and one to the wife?
Yeah.
Or would you rather combine? So this helps with that, okay? Make sure that when we get to the address part, there's a little button there that says same as mailing address, that you have them linked in here like this. And then you also have that address filled out with the same thing. Now, he's handing out these tenants on purpose, which those are fancy ones. Thank you. We didn't have to go paper route. Normally have to go paper route.
We, I'm gonna get the markers for you guys right now.
So I'm asking him to do this on purpose, because I'm gonna call him some names and ask you guys to participate during this process. You learn a lot better when you participate, okay? As she's gonna learn a ton here today, because I've been picking on her. So we've already got her husband and her in here, and I'm hopefully gonna sell them a house someday. So what's a good email address I can bug you at?
Stephanie.edison@kw.com.
So I'm gonna teach you guys, but I'm also gonna teach your search people here. So Franco, and do you guys use Scott Leroy to onboard your agents? Okay, so you shouldn't have this happen to you again, because I've already talked to Scott myself.
Okay.
But anybody who has that dot in there should never have a dot in there, because if there's another Stephanie Edison in KW, Google is the one that performs our email service, and they don't recognize dots. So if you ever have an issue with another Stephanie Edison trying to log into any of our services, they won't let them in, and she'll start getting their emails as well. So if they do give you an agent that has a dot in it, let me know. But I've already talked to him and his operations.
Okay, I'll go for a roster.
You can, there's actually, if you go into answers.q.com, there's a process in there that tells you how to change it as well. It's as simple as just creating an alias and then having them switch it. All right, primary phone number.
561-628-4058.
And then we're gonna talk about lead source type. So this is important. Anybody familiar with the 7L book?
With what, sorry?
7L book, 7 levels of communication.
No.
All right, great book. Great book, right? Easy read. 7L by Michael J. Meyer. Should actually probably add that to my presentation. Book, great book. If any of you don't like cold calling, I'm one of those people. I hate cold calling. I did not build my business on cold calling. I built my business on face-to-face relationships. You'll like this book. It's actually a story. It's easy to read. It's not a self-help book that says, go do this, go do that. No, it's a story about a guy who's a real estate agent who's down on his luck. He's going through the market crash that we were just talking about. And he's talking to a mortgage broker who is not experiencing that crash. And he tries to find out from her how she's not experiencing that crash. And he learns the 7L philosophy, which is face-to-face contact, meetings. So from the 7L, one of the things I learned from there is something called a great retrace. I actually know Michael, who wrote the book. He's come to our market center several times and taught this book. And the great retrace is one of my favorite things that he teaches. You can do it right in here using this lead source type. So you have select from list and you have select from contacts. So if the person, all right, so I'm going to say Franco sent me a lead, right? Well, hopefully I have Franco's contact information in here since he sent me that lead. Because now I'm going to go in here and say my lead source is Franco. So I can come in here, you can go to the contact name and put his name in.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay.
Now he's not going to show up in here because I spelled his name wrong and because I have him on the other side of mine. Actually isn't there. It's weird because I put you on the other side. So I've got him in there now. So now I can trace this lead back to him. And then if she sends me a lead, then that person's lead I can trace from that person to her and then from her to him. And this becomes what we call the great retrace. So you're looking for opportunities to call people and talk to your database. So we're just talking a little bit about skills that we can use when we go into this market to make sure we're top of mind with all of our clients. Here's one of your skills, okay? Use this great retrace. So I'm going to call Franco now and say, hey, Franco, I just had Stephanie send me a lead, and we're going to close on that really soon. I wanted to call you and thank you for sending me Stephanie as a lead. All right, he's gonna say, oh, great, no problem, I didn't even know that, no problem. Then I'm gonna go to the next person down the line, keep going on. You just keep on doing that. You're letting people know what's going on, and you have a reason to call and talk to them. We're always looking for reasons to call and talk to them, right? And they're gonna love hearing that your lead just sent you another lead. All right, so you can utilize it that way. You can also go to select from a list, which if you didn't get this from somebody who is referring it to you, then we can go to all these other things in here. So, for example, she would be agent relationships. Franco didn't bring her, so she's an agent. So I'm gonna leave it like that. It could be one of your allied resources. So just go through the list and you can pick what it is on there. If you got it from realtor.com, you can pull it in from that. I hope you didn't get it from Zillow, but if you did, you can go in there and Zillow's in there as well. The cost of those leads is getting ridiculous. Assignee and lead. That's not me, right? You all see that thing? All right. So in here, see if it'll get it right down. All right, so you may not see this assignee and lead routing options. This is a team-oriented thing. So I apologize if some of this stuff shows up as team, but I purposely wanted it up here because some of you might be on teams. I want to explain it to you. So this is where I can assign this to somebody. So if I know when I put this lead in, I'm not going to work it, I can go ahead and put this to somebody else on my team. So I'll come right here and I'll say, I'm not going to be the one working this. I'm going to give it to Bo on my team. Oh, sorry. Okay. So that's how you do that. If you're not on a team, that's not an option, so you don't even worry about it. Collaborators, the difference between a assignee and a collaborator is somebody like I might have a showing assistant that's working with me, and they don't need to actually get into the contact and edit anything. The only thing they need to do is put notes in. So a collaborator can do that, okay? But they're restricted from other things that they can do within the system. The assignee has full reign to go in there and make changes and adjustments to that contact as needed if it's assigned.
Where did you get assigned? Mine don't have assigned.
You're not on a team then, right?
No.
Okay, so these two options right here are team oriented.
Oh, okay.
But if you're, so this part will be yours, but these next two underneath it are team oriented. Mark as lead and add sales pipeline you will have. Here's the difference in these two things. What do you guys consider a lead? You're not allowed to talk.
No,
Someone who wants to buy something.
I'm sorry? I'm sorry?
I consider a lead someone I haven't really talked to yet, that I still need to talk to.
Okay, that's a really great explanation of it. Anybody else have one?
I think the lead is somebody that is interested in buying something or call me on my signs or whatever.
Someone gave you information about the person, and you're gonna work it however they need you to sell, buy, right, whatever.
So beauty of command is it's flexible to do whatever you want with it. I'll tell you my definition of a lead for my team. This is my opinion, is it's somebody you've only had a one-way conversation with, which means you're talking at them, they're not talking back to you. That's a lead, okay? So Franco gives me her contact information. I've got her in command now. I'm gonna mark her as lead until I get that two-way conversation. Now I'm turning this in, I'm taking the lead button off, and now they're a contact because I can actually have a real conversation. So exactly what you had said back there, I'm just defining it a little bit more by saying, her and I haven't spoken yet, therefore she's a lead. As soon as she answers my phone call and my text messages, now it's a two-way conversation. Now she's no longer a lead, now I'm actually working. All right, at least know what her intentions are. So I'm not gonna mark her as a lead. Add to sales pipeline. What this does is this is just for those people who are short-minded like me, like I forget things like names. That's why I have all these little tents around here, because I want to say your names and I want to get to know you. And if I see your names, I'll remember them better. So add to sales pipeline is in there because if we mark that box, when we get done filling these contacts out, it's going to remind you to put them into the sales pipeline. When do you guys put a contact into a sales pipeline? I'm going to call on Anna. When do you put a contact in the sales pipeline? Oh, okay, that's fine. How about you, Erica? Never, okay.
As soon as I start doing a search.
Okay. But
For
you,
them.
Linda?
Whenever they've expressed interest to buy or sell, they become an opportunity.
That's the right answer right there. Anytime somebody says they're interested in buying, selling, or investing in real estate, they are now an opportunity. So that two-way conversation between me and Stephanie, hopefully that conversation started off with her saying, yes, I want to buy a house, or yes, I want to sell my house, or I want to be an investor, or something like that, okay? And as soon as she says that to me, she becomes an opportunity. I'm gonna add to the sales pipeline for her, all right? Now, as I go through this contact, I'm gonna forget about that. So that's why I marked that, take me out of the contact when I hit save directly into the sales pipeline. It does not create the opportunity for you. It just reminds you because it doesn't know what type of opportunity you want. Therefore, it's just a reminder. All right, tags. Lydia, you and I have spent some time together.
Yes.
Tags, how important are they?
Very.
Why are they important? No, that's true.
It defines who they are. And
This-
you can use it in your smart.
There you can use this to slice and dice your database, okay? So the way I teach tags is very different than probably some other people teach tags. To me, a tag, go wild on it, all right? But go wild on it to a point that you're being consistent with it. Because if you're just putting a tag in there that says red for no reason, that makes sense. Make sure there's a rhyme and reason around these tags. My favorite tags are Ford tags. Who's heard the acronym Ford before? Good. Ford is a relationship-based acronym. It stands for family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. So when Stephanie and I are trying to get to know each other, first thing I want to know about is her family. So tell me all about your family. So some of my tags in here, is she married? Yes. So I already know right here, I'm going to put a tag in here for married. And I've got a tag there already for it. So boom, I just like that one. Does anybody know if Stephanie has kids?
Yes.
Great, Stephanie's got kids, so I'm gonna click on my tag, it says kids right here. So I know she's married and she's got kids. Why is that important?
Birthdays.
Remind them when you call her to follow up, how are your kids doing?
Perfect. She's married, how's your spouse doing? I got his name in here now, so that's perfect, so I can ask by name, because it's gonna be right there near the top, so I'll quickly see who she's married to. I can't remember because I'm horrible with names. What else?
Well, what
So-
does the R stand for?
Think ours recreation. So I'm still on these two tags. I'm just on these two tags, just in family alone. These are very important because if you call me and talk to me about me and my 3 little girls, I'll probably talk your ear off forever. So you gotta hit somebody's hot button. Usually their families are hot button. So spend time here, sit here for a little while, okay? This is your first place to go to. Real estate is a contact sport. When I was coming from the airport to here, I was listening to Susan Scott, who wrote Fierce Conversations. And in that book, she said that that our contacts are really our currency. So think of every one of these contacts right here as currency. The more time you can spend with them, the better. I've also heard that your network is your net worth. So these contacts we're going to spend a lot of time on to make sure we get them right. So you're going to see this class, we spend a lot of time right here on these contacts. And if you don't know what these people care about, then your database is not worth anything. And yes, you can sell your database. You can say you're selling your team, but what you're really selling is your database. The more information you have in here, the better. Now, if I came to your database right now and asked you to buy it, how valuable is your database? If all mine in here give you this kind of information about their family, what they love to do, who they are, their favorite ice cream, stuff like that, how much more valuable is that database? A lot more valuable. And that's why you hear people talking about oil is not king anymore, data is. That's why people are buying your data in droves. Thank you, Amazon. Thank you, Google. Thank you, Siri. Those people have all your information. It's gold. It really is. So you need to be that person too who's getting this information. It's easy as a conversation with somebody because that's what Siri's doing, right? It's listening to you. That's what Amazon's doing. It's weird how things show up on my screen when I'm talking about it in a room, and all of a sudden it's asking me if I want to buy it.
Yeah.
And it's just from a normal conversation. So how do we get into that? It's just hitting on the 4 buttons. Okay, so people will talk to you about their kids. They'll talk to you about their marriage to a point. Sometimes depends on the situation. So bring those up. So that's the F part. So 4, occupation. All right. So I know what you guys do. However, you might have a dual career, so I don't know what you do outside of that. So even your agents in your office, if you know that they're dual career, what else do they do? Because every one of you guys are referral partners, right? Have you ever had a deal that you just didn't want to work with that person because you just didn't fit with them? Well, then refer to somebody in your office. Maybe you've got a better fit. So put that in as a tag for this person. They got a dual career. Where else do they work? Get to know them. Okay. Your clients, they might be dual career, and also what do they do? Are they a doctor? Are they a nurse? Are they a teacher? Teacher who's a great admin, by the way. So there's a way to filter through your database if you're looking for admins. So our firefighters, they make great real estate agents because they've got a little more time on their hands sometimes. They only work several days a week, so they've got a lot of extra time. So just giving you guys looking for admins, it's great people. They're usually used to following a certain system. So whatever their occupation is, put that in here. It's a way to dice it.
What have you noticed for like transaction coordinators?
Teachers are usually the good ones there for admins or transaction coordinators, because usually these are systems and models. That's what you want. You want a high C personality in that role. You know, that CV process, really through that, but those are the people I pick on as the teachers, really. They're great agents, or they turn into great operations.
How do you add those tags?
Just start typing. So do you have another career outside of here?
Well, I'm trying to type one here, but it will not work for me.
What do you do outside of here? Anything else?
For me?
Yeah.
I do soccer.
Soccer, perfect. So if you do soccer, that could be either a career or it could be a hobby. So I'm gonna put that in here. Probably don't have it, but you don't. So see how it says create custom tag? I'm gonna click that button. And then if I want to apply a color to it, you can. If you're gonna apply a color, think of your color coding system. How are you gonna use that? Because you don't want to just apply colors because you think they're pretty. Have a system along that, okay? Like red is for what? Orange is for what? It helps you quickly go to things and put your eye on it. You come up with your own system. So I just added that. I'm gonna leave this one as white, and I'm just gonna hit add. And then now I've got the soccer one. Does that make sense?
Maybe you may have more features than.
No.
His is under the team.
Okay, that's why.
So how would?
Sorry. When you're on a team, you don't have control of the tags. The rainmaker has control of the tags. Okay? The reason for that is they don't want you going out and making a whole bunch of your own tags and then it not making sense. We want to keep it within that. So even if you're on a PC coaching team, same thing. That's why you would not be able, once you go off on your own, you're a single agent, you can make all your own tags. So if there's a different tag like that you want, take this class and go to your team's rainmaker and say, hey, here's some additional tags that we could be adding to this.
Okay, so I'm here. So then what tags are showing up? Are the basic general tags are showing up within the teams, right?
Yeah.
So then anybody within the coaching program, I guess, if you send me what tags you want, then I can literally just add them in the back office.
All I just gotta do is go throw them in there.
Yeah.
That's the only downfall is on the coaching team for that. But again, it helps keep people within limits so they learn how to do things, but you can have that.
Yeah.
That's.
What did you call for the lead source that was further up when you connect it to a previous person? You call it a legacy path?
No, it's when I was putting it in here, I'm going to select contacts.
Yeah, and then.
If I don't do it that
lead
way.
source, you said that we should do that so that we can follow the.
Oh, I got what you're saying. So you can follow your. No, that's a good point. So I'm going through my tracing through my lead path. So.
Okay.
There's that. It'll come back to me in a few minutes. You called me out, so now I can't remember, but I will go back. I promise. All right. So going back to tags, we just talked about family, occupation, now recreation. What do people like to do? Again, how can we get them talking to us? What do you like to do? Eat's a good one. What'd you say? Kayaking. Kayaking. I love kayaking. Boating. So I thought about the tag just water sports, but that's too general. And some people don't like going out on a boat, but they're okay with going on kayaks. And some people, there's a big kayaking community. So I like community type of tags like that. So I'll keep the boating and the kayaking separate because they are very different. Fishing. Just think of anything that anybody does, create that into a tag as far as recreation, but don't get too specific. Okay. Like, don't get into the point where these tags need to apply to more than one person. Does that make sense? You don't want to go into a database and have a tag that fits only one person in your database and it never gets used for somebody else. Because when I get done talking about these tags, I'm going to tell you how to use these tags even better. So that's the purpose behind it. So there's recreation tags, stream tags. So they want to travel more. They want to have a bigger business. Things like this. These are very useful tags. Okay. Has anybody been through a CV process? Provisioning? If you ever get a chance, if you ever have a thought of building a team or anything, provisioning classes are a really great class. And part of that CV process is just talking to somebody about what their dreams are, what they aspire to be or do. And that really hits the heart and gets you going. So if you're talking to your clients about what their dreams, what their goals are, how more invested in you are they going to be? Think about that. CV, even if you're not planning on building a team, CV is a great class for everybody. Because if you just flip everything they're teaching you on building a team into building a bigger business of your clients, it works. Because you're really interviewing your clients, right? They may be interviewing you, but you're also interviewing them, right? So use it that way. All right, so now you got those tags in there. Why are you going to use this? There's more tags too, by the way. Like, I know somebody told me in this office they don't like using the word, but I use it all the time. Disk. I can use a tag in different disks, but also now that we've got the import wizard, there's another place that you can use the disk. And you can create which we're going to come to it in a few minutes. You can create a custom field. Put the disk in there. That way, it's just a quick drop down. I'll show you how to do that in a minute.
Are you gonna cover the import wizard or?
I will. Really quickly, it's so simple. And he's got a document that's got a quick reference guide to it too, because there's a couple of things in there that are kind of quirky that'll help solve that problem. That's the one we got this morning, maybe. So you can put the tags in here if you wanted to. If you wanted to slice your database based upon their disk profile, it's great. Like maybe this morning I don't feel like talking to any high Cs. I don't have the patience for that. All right, I'm going to talk to all my high Ds so I can get through my calls as quickly as possible. Wow. Because a high D is somebody who just wants the bullet points real quick, right? So this morning I got stuff going on. I just want to get through those high Ds and I talk to all of them. So I'm going to slice my database up that way. Or I just heard something really great about soccer. So this morning, I'm just going to call through my database and talk to all my soccer people. Or maybe I saw this great article and I'm going to email it to them. I can create email lists based on tags. So tags help you slice and dice your database to use in many, many different ways. You can either call them, text them, email them, do a lot of things based upon the tags. So utilize the tags. They're there for more than just putting in that you imported them on this date. That's probably not the worst tag. Anything else you can think of, you can put in there. There's a thing called DTD2. You've not heard of that? That's a great tagging system to put in there.
Yeah.
If I'm brand new, I'm not even going to worry about DTD2. The first thing I'm going to do is I like to teach people. She's not here. I told her to do it. Just put fix me on every single one of them. I tell her to color it red, and then your job is to then go and I create a smart plan called Fix Me, and you go add them to every single person in your database to the Fix Me smart plan. Fix Me smart plan is a really stupid, easy smart plan. All it does is assign a phone call to that person. And then what that you're going to do is when you apply that smart plan, the reason I put on a smart plan is because when you both add a smart plan to somebody, it'll allow you to designate how many people per day you want on that smart plan. So I think of it like, if I'm a full-time agent, I'm going to do a bold 20. So I'm going to call 20 people today. So I'm going to shift it to 20 people per day. So every day, including the weekend, you're going to get 20 people. So you'll have actually more than 20 people the following week, because the weekend, if you take the weekend off, it's going to put 20 more contacts each day. So you're going to have 40 additional contacts that week.
That's pretty awesome.
All right. So now you're going through and you're just doing instead of going out and meeting a new people, you're now re-recruiting the people you know. Right? Talking to them and saying, hey, how you doing? You're asking them forward questions, and you're going through and filling out their contact profile. And the goal here is to get your contacts to over 90%. 100% is best, but 90% is great. Great enough to say that you know them and that they would actually be in your circle. A, B, C, D is a good tag. I used that when I first started. If you're an A, that means you're in my top 20, pretty much. That means we talk a lot. Yes, sir.
Can you actually get a contact out of
I actually, I'll give it to him.
Is there
There's
anything
a
that can be missing?
graphic I have that shows you what makes up the 100%.
Is there anything that can be missing for it to get there?
Lots of stuff. Most of the, in fact, while we're going through this, I'll point out some of the stuff. Name has to be in there, obviously. Email address, phone number. So name, email address, phone number, lead source. You have to have that in there to get 100%. Then tags, you have to have at least one tag. Now, when I'm teaching people, I tell them to put fix me on everybody. That doesn't count as a tag, okay? Pretend that's not there, because as soon as you get it to 90%, you're gonna remove that tag, and then you go backwards. You're gonna be back at like 88%. So you have to add more tags on. And then as we go, I'll continue typing on. So additional information, we've got additional contact information here. Preferred method of contact, that does not count towards the score, but that's usually one of the first questions I ask somebody. How would you like me to contact you? How do you like to be talked to? Would you prefer we text, email? What do you like? So put that in there so you know. Additional email, if you have them. Additional phone number, if you have them. Street address. All right, all you have to do in this section, this does count towards your health score. The health score, what is that? Why do you think that's there?
What your contact really is.
Send a mail.
But if you're at the very top, when you're in a contact, it has a health score. Why do you think that's there? It's going smart database.
To calculate how much money you can make?
No, not really. It's good. Good point. Is that?
How you can use it, like the information in there?
Yes, I'll show you when we get done. It actually shows the health score. It's going back to what he was talking about. He's asking about the health score. How do you get 100%? I actually have a graphic that shows you all the different things that get you to 100%.
I've tried really hard. I've never got one.
Well, you know what? We'll get you to one today. So a health score tells you basically how well you know somebody, because it's pointing out this things in your database that if you don't know them, for example, how much time do you spend in your work in a day? 12 hours, 8 hours, some people, 10 hours, some people. That's most of the day, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't know where somebody works, you probably don't know them that well, right? So if you don't put their work address in there, your health score is not going to be great because you don't know them that well. If you don't know where they live, you probably don't know them that well because you can't even send them a birthday card. If you don't have their phone number, you can't contact them by phone. So you probably don't know them that well. They don't trust you enough to get their phone number. So that's what the health score does, is it really gives you an indicator of how well you know that person. So that's why those specific things are in there. Address, just start typing in here, whatever the address is. Do not type all the way out, let Google pre-fill the rest and click on it. If you try and put your own custom address in there, it won't find it and it won't be able to send the mailing label to them if you need it. So click on this. Here's a tip. If you guys, I don't know how much new construction you guys have in here, but if you have some and you have a house that goes up and it's not in Google, here's how you add it. So 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, no results, but because I typed that in, I got this new button that pops up that says create manually, and I'll let you put it in. Okay, so do it that way. However, I might put a tag or something on there, like a fix me type of tag, and a note in there to go back and fix this once Google updates, because we're pulling those results from Google. They're all coming right from there. So if you can get their address in there, it's going to be better. It's actually manually located, and that's not what you want. All right, so you put the address in, and that'll make up your health score. This right here is very important. Like I said earlier, you have to check this button if you want them to have mailing labels. You have to. If you don't have that in there, you're not going to be able to export the mailing labels. So when it comes Christmas time, you're writing all those in by hand. If you want to just export them and print them out, make sure you got the same as mailing address. That'll make sure that her and her husband get printed together. Okay. We're not spending extra money. If you don't know somebody's social media profile, you're not going to get 100% health score. You have to have at least one profile. Go find their MySpace account. What kind of music did you listen to back then? Even know what MySpace is, you look kind of young.
Yeah, I know what my. Seriously.
But it is in here, like, you could pretty much any social profile you want. Let's go down the list. Look, it's right there. See, MySpace. You can put a website in there, a URL, whatever you want. But go get the social media profile. Everybody, almost everybody. My grandma has a Facebook account. So go get it, put it in there. You just go to their profile page and then copy the URL. And if you don't know what a URL is, that's this thing right up here. Copy that and then paste it in to right here. Okay. As long as you're on their profile page, that's the link that takes you to them. Sometimes they'll have a custom one, like it might say Ryan Yarbrough at the top, right after Facebook. And sometimes they'll have a bunch of different strings of letters and numbers. It just depends on if they want to make a custom one or not. If they're on Twitter, I don't know what high five is, but all these different ones in here, just put it on there. Because then why is that important? Why do you think that matters?
Stay connected.
Why?
You can see what they're doing.
That's
Also,
it.
you see that if they celebrating, his birthday.
Mhm.
Facebook
Absolutely.
tells you like, man.
It tells, so when I'm on here, I'm getting ready to call them. I'm like, how am I going to talk to this person? How do I know? What do I talk to them about? That's usually our biggest fear. Our phone gets really, really heavy because we don't know what to talk to them about. We're scared to talk to them. So by having a social media profile on there, all you gotta do is click the button, it takes you right to their profile. You can see the last couple things that they've done. Just go, oh, they just went to their kid's soccer game. So call them up, say, hey, how's that soccer game? I saw your pictures on Facebook. How's things going? They'll talk forever. Okay, so that's why it's on there. That's why you can utilize it. All right, so that's social profiles. Now we're gonna go to about. In about, this is a very important section. So we've got legal name in here. The legal name field will pull over into DocuSign, okay? It's gonna pull over into opportunities and into DocuSign. So that's an important field. So if you have Timmy Johnson in here as the first name and last name in the field before, and his name's actually Timothy, then in the legal name field, please make sure it says Timothy in there, because that's what it'll pull over into DocuSign. Description. You can put whatever you want in here. Any notes that maybe you remember where you got this contact from? A lot of times, if you import your contacts, the description field will tell you a little bit about them. Like if you were in our old system and you export it, a lot of times you'll get a lot of information on how many bedrooms and bathrooms they're looking for in the description section. You can put whatever you want in the description section. I usually write a little something about like if I network with them, I met them in a networking group somewhere here. You can also put any of that. Yeah.
We have lunch if you want to take a few minute break, and then I guess the Zoom is frozen, so I let you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why.
All right, cool. I'm like, all right, finally keep doing this.
Well,
I'm just gonna finish up this contact real quick, and that'll be good stuff. All right. We're gonna do a working lunch too, if that's okay with you guys. You guys need, we'll work there, so make sure you get the information.
How long do you think your whole list today will be?
It's gonna be about 2 to 2.5 hours.
Okay.
And let's see, so we talked about description. That does not count towards your health scores. Don't worry about that part. Birthday, very, very important. If you don't know when somebody's birthday is, you don't know them that well. We probably don't know a lot of our birthdays, but guess what? They're very easy to find. Everybody puts their birthday on Facebook so they can get a happy birthday. So go to Facebook, find them there. There's also, if you just Google, a lot of times you'll find their birthday in Google.
Wow.
There's websites out there that have more information than you care to have out there on there, and you can find the birthday pretty easily. I actually subscribe to a service. It's like $15 a month that lets me do like background checks on people because I hire people, and then I also utilize it to get the birth dates. I can get their social media profiles and stuff right after that. To me, $15 a month's worth it because I can go back and write stuff on there.
What is that?
You know what? I just log into it, so I don't even remember the name of it, but I'll get it for you.
You can use BIN verified.
That's it, actually.
BIN verified.
Been verified. And here's a pro tip.
Ben or Ben?
Ben, BEEN, verified. And then sign up for it and then cancel it, and they'll give you a discount price. Birthday, so get that birthday in there. Home anniversary. So you're the listing agent and you just sold this home, so you know what their anniversary date is, right? And you can get a lot of their information from the closing statement. In fact, a lot of times you got their email address and everything on the closing statement. So look at that closing statement and get that person that just bought the house you listed information on there. Because you know what their home anniversary date is, and you can, when they're ready to sell, you can keep on listening to them because they no longer have a relationship with their agent. And they're not going to keep in touch with them because most of them don't. So now you can do that. All right. Also, all your friends and stuff, even if you didn't sell them a house, you can still find out when they bought the house. There's these things called tax records. They tell you when the house was purchased. So go find their home anniversary date right from there. And you can get an idea of what the home equity is based on what they bought. So you see what they.
I got the email. What is it on the
Another
deal that needs
financing
to be
information.
changed? I said it said no HOA.
Hi, Jennifer. So once you know their the financing information, just you can put them into the notes as well because it'll help you. Because why do you want to use a home anniversary?
Okay, let me just check.
Maybe you might have an excuse to call.
You can send them an email. You can mail them, which is my favorite thing.
But Karen, if that happens, all we do when I'm closing it out, I just change it. I just give you the additional monies. So you don't need to worry excessively if.
All right, so then I'll send them handwritten cards saying happy anniversary on it, and then send them some information about what their home's worth and how much, if you know what about where their equity line is, let them know you got this much equity in your home if you're ever interested in buying or selling. I actually got plenty of buyers right now that be interested in your home. All right, so I'm going to show you another place in Command once we get there where you can actually mine this a little bit more. So that's home anniversaries. Put that date in. There's smart plans that trigger based upon this one and this one. So those are important dates. Relationships. So we already talked about your husband. We've got him in there. But now I can go through and I can start adding your cousins, your nieces, your nephews, your all of that stuff in here if I want to. Now, why I use this field is because, again, I told you guys earlier, I'm really bad with names. But sometimes I can remember, I can see your face. I can't remember your name, but I can remember somebody you're related to name. So it's very helpful for me because I'll go find that person's name and he'll take me back to your name. So if you're good at relating things, that's a pro tip right there. Put as many relationships in there as possible, and hopefully you're selling them homes as well. All right, so that does not count against the house score if you don't have more relationships in there. So don't worry about that one. But home anniversary one does not count against your house scores either, because they take into consideration you maybe didn't sell them their home, so they're not going to count that against your house score. Your birthday does, that counts against your house score. And we just talked about this, but your company name and the job title, it does count against your house score. If you don't know where somebody spends most of their time in their day, you don't know them that well. If you don't know what they're doing, then you're not having an easy conversation with them. So if they're a trauma nurse, then you're probably going to hear some horrible health stories, but at least you know what to talk to them about. It's a hot button for them. Or maybe you know it's a hot button not to touch. It's good to put in your notes because some of them don't want to talk about that. Here's another way to think of this profile. If you're dating this person, so get as much dating information as possible so you can make sure this person wants to continue to date you, okay? Because you're dating everybody in your database. Custom. You can put whatever you want in here. These are all custom fields. Here's a trick that we were playing with this morning is if you'd like to farm your neighborhood, I've got 133 homes in my neighborhood. It's a very small little neighborhood and we're kind of tucked away. It's really nice. But if I want to farm that neighborhood, I hate seeing signs go up in my neighborhood without my name on it. So if I want to farm that, how do I do that? I go to the tax records and I can pull them all. One of the nice things in that tax record, it will tell me how much they have left in their home. You can get all that information. You can make that into a custom field. So I can create a custom field here that says, I'll just type in here, home. Create that as a custom field. So I just click the button there. Now I'm going to choose whether this is a text field, this is a text area, a drop down, a date, a checkbox, percentage, whatever I want. In this case, I'm just going to be a text field. And I just hit done. All right. Now I'm going to type another one in here. This is the one I use a lot. Stephanie, where'd you go? What's the last?
Hi,
Sorry, what was that?
EDISA.
All right, City Health score at 68% right now. There's some things I missed. I was saving for a social profile in there. I haven't put where she works yet, but I will. I know where she works. How do you like to be contacted?
Text.
That's what. Yeah, just.
2005.
I promise I won't spam you.
Vista. Parkway, there you go.
All right, that's her address, and I'm just gonna put in. May not be here, but. What's your birth month?
August
Day?
19.
I'm not dumb enough to ask for a year, so I'll just be quiet there. I'm gonna hit this pet owner, I'm gonna create custom. And I'm gonna go ahead and change this to a drop down. My purpose is just to teach you how to do this. Now in this drop down, I'm gonna type in here dog, cat, horse, pig, lizard. You guys have lizards down here, right? What else?
Chickens.
Chickens, that's a good one.
Goat.
Goat, okay. What else you guys got?
Birds, horses.
Yeah,
Iguanas, we got iguanas.
Yeah, iguanas. I keep that as a lizard.
Snakes.
All right, so I got a list right here. So you put your common ones in here that you hear a lot of, and then you can always go back and change these as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit enter. I put a comma next to all those as you saw.
You're at 100.
Look at that. Look, you saw your first 100 score. Look at that. I'm not moving the screen so you can see it. Look at that. 100. It's true, right? It worked, right?
Yeah. I'm not missing the social media.
Social media. Gotta get that in there. That's important.
That's why I get to like 99, and it's like never get to 100.
These fields right here, these custom fields, they become more important now because of the fact that the import wizard actually makes this even more important. We didn't have a way to take information and put them in those custom fields before using other sources, but now the import wizard will allow us to do this. So you have to create these custom fields first, and then when you go back into like those tax records, you can adjust the columns based upon that and import this information. So a lot of information you get from the tax records is very helpful, because if you want to know how much equity is in each home in that neighborhood, you can filter based upon that. So if you want to know who has the most equity and the least amount of equity, you can filter based upon that. So that's helpful. That kind of goes back to what we were talking about before I even start talking. And it's just talking about knowing information about the people in your database, how much equity they have, and if they need to refinance, don't refinance, you've got different options for them. And in that custom, let's see if I feel it's available. So when I go to my pet name, let me pull it up real quick. All right, so now you can see that I've got a drop down menu and it's got all those in there, okay? So just create that drop down. This is also where I was telling you, if you wanted to create a disk one, you can put a custom field here for disc and just do DISC, and then you can just choose from that which one you want. If you use that. I know some places they don't use it too much. I use it all the time. It helps me identify it really quickly.
What do you hit after you hit custom to add it?
Custom. Custom field. Type in. Create this custom field. And then I'm going to do it as a drop down. And then right here, my problem is I kept on hitting enter. I should hit done. So go D, I, X, C, and just hit done. Don't keep on hitting enter like I was. Now I've got a drop down menu. I can just choose that from. Just a time saver, because that's something I'm going to do repeatedly over and over with all my contacts, and I just got a drop down menu to select it from all the time. All right. So those are going to be your custom fields. We spent a lot of time on your contacts. We did that on purpose because that's the base of the MREA. It's knowing your contacts, creating that shoebox that Gary Keller had, having that card in there, and having reasons to talk to them. When we're done here, we'll take a quick break. So if you guys need to go grab food or drink, that's great. Come back and we'll start back up. We're going to do a working lunch. And when we go into that, we're going to start talking about smart plans and checklists. We'll spend a tiny bit of time in there. And then we're going to jump into opportunities so we can make sure we get through to the DocuSign part of it. Opportunities, we're going to spend probably the most time right there next, because that's really where you guys are going to be able to show value to your clients and value to yourself, because you're going to take a lot of the headaches away by being able to manage it. Okay?
It is so bad.
Good. Glad to hear that. Yes, ma'am.
Before I knew Command, I like I had this one rental listing. I literally have rosemary in 3 or 4 different spots. So now I have to submit it to Jennifer. And is there a way you could show me how to delete?
Yeah, you can do it right from the contact itself. Like if you have all 3 of them up, just put a checkbox next to them. Here, I'll save this.
So I
Now,
want to
when I go
delete
to
the other
contacts right
folders that I,
Folders. Where are we talking about?
the opportunities. Should I wait until you get there?
Yeah, wait until we get there. I might actually answer it when I'm talking.
Okay, thanks.
So just disclosure, I'm not gonna use any information, so. How's it going?
There's no hit, this is here, no EBC, no
How you saying it? Krista?
Chris, you're singing la la la, so Chris and then back.
My daughter's name's Aaliyah, so kind of same.
His name is Sexy Meal. He raised sexy.
He goes, man, give me the book.
Sexy Meal.
Jeez, please, really? That's why I don't
What was
want
your
you
name?
no more.
Gene, nice to meet you.
I'm your favorite person.
No.
here. You know I am.
No.
Sorry. Yeah. So there's nothing you can do at all. Yeah, I mean, we did have a chance maybe last time. But we're nowhere near close to having a chance on that. Yeah, that's crazy. You can do it. Yeah, no, I mean, really, he should have known that, from before, because he, he gave us this approval, and then as soon as we send the offer, that's when he's like, oh, yeah, we can't do it. Yeah, because for your income alone, it just wouldn't work to begin with. Yeah, because that's what Mario was saying too, being that, being that you're not going to work every day, your income is not the same.
All right, everybody on Zoom, can you see, is the screen moving?
I mean, even a townhouse is possible too, as long as at a lower amount, you know, because I think you still would qualify.
Do you love Gantt charts? Here's how easily you can build one in ClickUp.
wrong. What else can I say, girl? Can't you blame my head and not my heart? I was drunk, I was gone. That don't make it right, but I promise there were no feelings involved. She said, boy, tell me honestly, was it real or just for show? Yeah. She said, save your apologies. Baby, I just gotta know. How long has this been going on? You've been creeping around on me while you're calling me baby. How long has this been going on? You've been acting so shady. I've been feeling it lately. stay around, so make me yours. So happy I found you. Just wanna be around you, so make me yours. Now that I found you, found it, 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 found it.
All right, all the guys who are on Zoom, we're starting up in a second. So if you're still punching, punching,
Let's do it. Did
All right.
did somebody add that?
So I'm gonna recap real quick what we just went over for lunch while we'll trickle back in. So we went in, we started a contact with Stephanie Edison here, if you could. Please. All right, so in this contact, I got 100% health score now. We did that because we know what her name is. We've got her name in here. We've got all of her contact information right here. I know she's got kids, she's married, and soccer's an interest of her, somebody's, not hers, but we just put that on as an example. So we've got tags on there. And if I wanted to mark this as lead, I could right here. If I do, it's gonna put a little L next to her name, as you can see right here. And if I want to uncheck her as lead, that takes that off. Now, when I go back to the normal contacts area, it's going to allow me to filter based upon leads too. So if I want to see a list of all my leads, I can go through it that way. So that's another reason why it's important to have it on there. Lead source, I've got that on there as the agent. This is a Teams account that I'm in. So it shows the account name. So anybody here's on a team, and switch over here to girl sitting over here. She wanted to hear more team stuff. So I'm trying to hit on this. Anytime I talk about team, I'll precursor it with team, so you guys know if you're not on a team, just ignore what I'm saying. If you are on a team, this is where you pick that up. So the account matters. So the team name says the account is in the Yarbrough team, which is my team. The owner, typically if an agent puts their contacts in here, it'll go under the agent's name. It should be the agent's contact name as the owner, unless the team has an agreement that they own all contacts. That's up to you and your team when you set up a team agreement. But the Yarbrough team right now, because I created contact, is the owner, and then I assign myself as the assignee. If I wanted to change this, I could. By me putting the address in, it automatically found her neighborhood. Kelly, our AI, goes in the background, grabs it, finds the neighborhood for you, and puts it in there. If you want to look at that neighborhood preview, just hit the preview button, it'll show that. If you want to send this to them, you can copy it and send it. You can text it out, you can email it out, or you can just put it on a smart plan and it'll do it for you. We'll go into that shortly. Now we go down to the additional contact information. We can see that she prefers to be texted. She's got no additional emails or phone numbers yet. You can see their primary address, and it's also her mailing address. You can see that's her legal name. There's her Facebook profile. If I click on that, I'll take you directly to her Facebook page if it's really hers, because I faked that, put that in. Description, it tells me when her birthday is, where she works, and if we have any relationships, we could put that in here as well. All right, so that's that side. On this side, you can see that we've got that she was subscribed to that neighborhood, which means it automatically assigned that neighborhood. And then also I was made the primary assignee. So this is your timeline that tells you everything that's going on in this contact, and it will update automatically for you as you do stuff. Unless there's an activity you're doing on your own, then you can hit the add activity button. So if I just gave Stephanie a phone call, I could come in here and put call in. If I sent her a text message from my cell phone, I could put text message in. Pro tip, use Command Mobile because it does a lot of that for you, okay? And we're going to show you how to set that up. The goal today, when we get done, is you should be able to start your day right in Command Mobile, going to your task list, and everything's already there for you, ready to go. You don't have to look at anything else, just go to your task list and start working. Because our job as an agent is to lead generate, lead follow up, go on appointments, negotiate contracts, practice and role play. If you're doing anything outside of that, you're not in your 20%, okay? You need to stay in your 20%. If you don't know what that means, go watch the 80-20 principle video on YouTube. Great video. So in here, you're following your task and you're doing a phone call task and you're calling them up. It'll show up in your phone. So we're just talking right now about the different activities that you can add to the timeline, right, from hitting this button right there, add activity. We also have opportunities in here. So if I have an opportunity with Stephanie, which when I hit save, it was supposed to take me to that, but because I had to go back in and out, I got knocked out of it a couple times. So it should have taken me to there, and it probably did, but I went back to opportunities. I can add her to an opportunity right now. If I hit create opportunity, start an opportunity from right here. We'll look at this more here in just a few minutes, but just remember, if you do this, this is your only opportunity to create that opportunity as a listing or as a lease or as a buyer. Once you've created it, you can't change it. It's stuck that way. So the only thing you can do is archive it, start a new one. So make sure when you start it from here, start it the right way. Why that is because your checklists are based upon that. So it has to know right from the beginning what it is so it can assign the correct checklist within the document section.
So archiving it is in other words for deleting it?
Kind of, yeah. Only difference is archive means that we can go back and find it. We don't want to, when it comes to legal transactions, we don't really want to delete. We want to archive so that it can be found.
Well, in my case where I accidentally put 4 times that one,
Archive.
really?
Doesn't matter.
Are you showing us now how to archive?
No, but I will. Smart plans. This is how we talk to people. So we talked earlier that we got to create a contact first, and then we have to talk to them. Was talking to Frank out here. He said he liked the part where I said that we're dating our contacts, and that's exactly true. We are dating our contacts because if Stephanie and if I wanted to date Stephanie, and then I just all of a sudden stop talking to her, you think she's gonna want to talk to me anymore?
Hell no.
I ghosted her, she's gonna ghost me right back, right? So you don't ghost your contacts. You don't stop talking to them. Does that mean that you get rid of them if they're if you stop talking to them because you're not talking to them? No, you can get somebody to start talking to you again. I've had my brother not talking to me for a while. He eventually started talking to me again. I just gotta start dating him again. I just gotta start going to Facebook and liking his stuff. I just gotta start sending him text messages, say, hey, how are you doing? I gotta show him I care. And then once I show him I care, he'll start talking to me, right? Same thing. I don't know if all your ex-girlfriends or boyfriends are gonna do that, but at least with your contacts, you can do that. All right. So smart plans are a way to talk to them, and they automate it. You can also, anything you can think of that you do over and over and over again can become a smart plan, okay? So automate it and put it in place. We'll talk more about that again here coming soon. Tasks. Here's a rule on my team. Anytime you talk to somebody, you set a new task. Anytime I go into a contact and I have any kind of communication with them, I set a follow-up task. So if I called Samuel here and said, hey, how's things going? He's like, great, but I'm at a soccer game. Can I talk to you later? I said, yeah, absolutely. No problem. I'll give you a call next Tuesday. That means I'm going in there, I'm putting a task to call him next Tuesday, so don't forget, okay? And guess what? I'm setting it as a phone call task because I want to make sure, here we go, mark it as a phone call task, because that's going to mean when I go into Command Mobile and set it up, it's going to ask me if I want to put feedback in, because it's a phone call task, it'll ask for feedback. I can just talk that right into my phone while I'm on the go.
So when you do that here, it's gonna link up to your phone.
If you have Command Mobile on your phone, yes.
Is that in the App Store?
Here, you can set your priority level. So this is me, but I do need to talk to them. Assign to me or somebody else on my team. And why would you use a hyperlink in here? Franco, what do you use a hyperlink for? Why would I want to put a hyperlink in here?
So that you can go into that particular website right away.
What would be a use case for that?
Time.
Sorry? You could do that, but just remember that video is not going to go to that person. This is more of a reference for you. So I'm going to use an example earlier. The gentleman back here was asking about contact health score, and I promised I would give him that little picture. Well, I have that in a Google Drive, so I could get that Google Drive link to that picture, and I can put it in here. So next time I talk to him, I remember it. I can grab that and just send it to him. So different things like that, or a website, or anything you can think of that you might need to talk to them later on. Maybe you create a listing presentation. You want to put that in here as a link to it. So you can use that in a lot of different ways. Or maybe you have a script and you have it saved in your Google Drive, and you want to use that script to talk to them later. You can link it right there so the script pops up. I mean, a conversation. All right, so I just hit save on that. Now I've got a task in here. Let's do it today. I've got a call. So when I go to call, I'll hit this button, and on a regular task, when I hit that check mark, it disappears and says you finished. On a phone call task, it comes up and says, what happened? No answer, left a voicemail, or we talked. And I can put a description in. Same thing when you come up on your phone. So when I pull this up on Command Mobile on my phone, it pops up, and then this description area, all of us probably have smartphones now. There's a little thing called dictate. You can dictate into your phone and just have it do it. So when you're on the go, don't be driving going like this. He said that the game was great. Don't do that, okay? Just hit the button and say, he said the game was great, and we had a great conversation, all right? Put something. And then you can hit the task, right? So I'll leave that in there. So that's tasks. We got notes. Here's a big thing I want you to understand about notes. There's a big distinction between an opportunity and a contact. A contact is the person, it's the relationship. The whole thing is about relationships, okay? Has nothing to do with the property they're buying. Please don't come into the notes section and start talking about how they had, I don't know, they had termites at the house or they had mold at the house. Don't put that in the notes section, okay? That has nothing to do with your relationship with them. Now, if they start telling you things about their kids, like maybe their kids just came down with a really bad cold, you can put that in the notes section. That way, next time you call them up, you got a note in there and be like, hey, how's your kid? You had a cold last time or something. Did he recover? Something like that. Okay, that's good for notes. This is a relationship note. Save search. Just like at MLS, you can come in here and do a save search. I'm going to go through really fast so I can make sure we stay on time. I can come in here and say, you know what, I want to do this by custom. I'm going to draw a map. Zoom out a little bit. I'm going to say that I want to only store in the water areas. So I'm going right here. Price minimum. What I'm looking for in here, like if I want a pool, single family, only, just like this. Now, why would I want to set it up in here rather than somewhere else?
When you're talking to the contact, you can discuss it.
Okay.
You can see, you can track what they're doing, maybe.
100% right there. You're keeping them in your world. And I'm going to pause right here because we've been talking about relationships, right? And one of the biggest things is a relationship, in a relationship is proximity. Now, really think about proximity when you're talking to somebody. If you and I are this far apart, we're not as close, right? If I come over here, we're a lot closer, we're eye to eye. That relationship's a lot closer, not just in proximity, but if I'm talking to you this close, we're probably going to connect a little bit better. Now, how does that connection work when you're doing this over Zoom? Is it better or is it worse?
Worse.
Yeah, of course, but it's still good, right? We're still seeing each other.
Right.
Now we turn that screen off. So all these people who are on here listening, if they're on Zoom, they're probably not getting as great of an experience if they were here in person, but at least they're here. And if they have their screen off and I can't see their face, I'm not building any kind of relationship with them right now, so I can't see them. So don't mind teaching classes on Zoom. I don't mind doing Zooms one-on-one with people. But the one thing when I do that is please turn your screen on because I want to connect with that person. I want to look them in the eyes. I want to see them talk to me. I want to see the reaction on their face when I'm talking to them. So when you're talking to your clients and you do it over Zoom, great. Make sure the screen's on so you can see their face, okay? And if you're talking to your clients and you're doing it through text, do you think texting is closer or further in that emotional proximity? Further. How about email?
More further.
Further. So you see what we're doing here is we're getting further and further apart. So this right here, when they're on your website, do you feel like it's further away or closer than them going and looking on Zillow? Much closer. Can you see what they're doing on Zillow? So this is why this is important. Remember, this also goes to their mobile app. What you do right here, it shows up in their mobile app and it shows on their website. They're the same. Okay, the same information. If they set up a safe search on their mobile app, it shows up on their website as well. It's all saved.
I don't know how you got the pencil to do a circular thing.
You gotta go like this. You gotta go to this box right here that says neighborhood. Go to custom.
Oh.
Right, when you go to custom and then draw a map shows up, click on that, and then find the area you want to, touch this little finger, and it'll let you draw wherever you want on the map.
All right, so I'm just.
That's a newer feature too, because we didn't have that before.
Yeah.
And why would you want to do this over having them on the MLS
just keeping them here. They're gonna go look on Zillow and stuff like that. I mean, if you want to be able to see what, you can see what they're doing on MLS too, but I use this a lot of times when I first got people who are kind of looky-loos and not really serious. But if I want to get them right away, this is supposed to be updated in 15 minutes. I'm gonna be honest with you, it always isn't 100% up in 15 minutes. MLS is right away, so MLS is gonna beat it. But at some point, the great thing here is I don't have an MLS in Colorado. Guess what? I do on here. I have every MLS in the entire United States, Canada, and in South America on here. And we're expanding into other countries right now. We've been expanding more and more. So I have every single MLS in there. I can search them and I can start the search for this right now. I can't write the contract, but I can refer that part of it out. So we got a referral platform on here, and we'll go over that kind of a little bit, but it's not part of this class, but this is part right here. You got people, you can help them start looking right now. That way they at least have an idea, and you're cementing them into your world. They're using your app, using your website, you're searching in other areas that you before didn't have the ability to. You can't do that to the MLS, because your MLS is stuck to right here. We bought Smarter Agent quite a while back, and we had every IDX link in there. That was why we bought them. To get those IDX links. Everybody with Cal Williams does.
So basically, you
Everybody in
have,
Cal Williams does.
basically you have access to other MLS through all countries. Oh, that's an aha moment for me.
Mhm. Yeah, every agent and your clients have access to that MLS if they're on your website and your mobile app. But only Cal Williams agents have that. There's no other agency that has that right now, other than you guys. The only other place that, and they are an agency, is Zillow. They have it as well, but that's because they built a platform off it, and our MLS has sold those out and give them all that. Okay, so that's the only reason they have it. But they've got the same data time as we do. If we get it 15 minutes, they get it 15 minutes because we're just pulling it from the list of it. The only way you can get it sooner is if you go and put your listing in KWLS on here, and then you'll have it pop up immediately. All right, so again, this is safe search on here and why that's important. It's more about emotional proximity, to keep those people involved in your world. So we just went through the contacts really quickly and showed all that. We're going to talk about smart plans next. Forgive me, but I am going to run through this a little faster than normal because I want to get you to the good stuff at the end. All right, so in smart plans, if you go to the top right here, I'm on a team, so it says teams plans right here. If you're not on a team, you'll just have your own plan. So just say your name, okay? Then you have library over here. So you're gonna, if you've never used smart plans before, just go to the library. We have this great thing at Cal Williams called R&D, which means rip off and duplicate, okay? No point in creating the wheel when it's already been created for you. Go use what somebody else has. If there's something you don't like about it, we can edit it. Don't worry about that. Like you don't like the way they worded something, but the rest of it's great, keep it and edit it. So they've got featured ones in here, which means they've been rated high and a lot of people have downloaded, so they're featured ones. You've got Keller Williams created ones here. Then you've got top rated ones. These are just ones that everybody's rated really high, but that doesn't mean there's a lot of them downloaded. Featured ones have more downloads. And then you've got new ones. So these haven't been really rated, they're brand new, they just came in and you can utilize them. If you want to see what they're about, you come to the bottom right here where it says view steps, and it'll open up right here, and you can see it has a HTML email, which means it's those pretty ones. Text email is just regular text right across. HTML is using a code to put those pretty images and stuff in. Then it waits for 14 days, and then it starts to smart plan over again. So basically, every 2 weeks, they're getting an email in this one. All right. And you can do this on any one of them. You can go and do the steps. So that one was the bi-weekly neighborhood nurtures. You also have monthly neighborhood nurtures. Why would you put somebody on bi-weekly?
They're active.
Yeah.
Okay. Who was that?
If they're active.
Yes.
Looking down.
Yes, right. Correct. So would you put your mom on a bi-weekly? Well, if she's looking. Trick question, right? If she's looking. If she's not looking, what do you put her on? monthly. For those people who just want to keep in touch with their neighborhood, put them on monthly, keep them in touch. If you're working with somebody, put them on a bi-weekly, all right? Or somebody's interested, put them on a bi-weekly, because whenever they show interest, all of a sudden you want to stay on top of them. That's extra touches. You want to stay top of mind, because when they're interested, somebody else is going to talk to them too. And you don't want to listen. All right, so here's 8x8s. Look at this. It shows automated text goes out or manual. So if you don't have Twilio set up, which is our texting service, then it's going to give you a task telling you to text them, okay? So you can give you one, and then it waits 7 days, and then it does a touch task. So it tells you what to do. And this one it just says send let's grab coffee email to them. So you need to go ahead and send them an email. It says that. I don't know why they just set it up as a regular email. Then it waits 7 days, and then it tells you to give them a phone call. Then it waits 7 days, and it sends an automated text, and then 7 days, and then it puts them on a monthly neighborhood nurture. So that's one of the things that can actually put them on another smart plan for you. So it starts that automatically. And then wait 7 days, and then it tells you a phone call, wait 7 days, and then another text message, another 7 days, and then it's touch, and then it's done. But it's not 100% done, because now you got them on monthly neighborhood nurture as well. So it's got another smart plan going. So this is just one of the ways you work through it. That's this, guys. This is right here, because your goal is to get 36 touches on somebody. It used to be 33, but it's 36 now. You gotta touch them even more times because they ignore their emails, they ignore their text messages. You gotta touch them more. 36 touches. Anybody read the book? What does that equate? If you touch your database, how much your database should you be able to convert? Anybody know?
10%.
It's a little bit high, but I wish it was 10%. The book says 6%. All right. So if you have 100 contacts in your database and you put them on a 36 touch, you should be able to convert 6% of your database on average. So 100 contacts, that's 6 deals a year. So the math is pretty simple there. How many deals do you want to do this year?
20.
20. If you want to do 20 deals, then how many contacts do you need?
More than 3 on F6.
That's the easy math. Just how many contacts do you want to do? 100 contacts equals 6 deals. So if you want to do 20,
That's 4.
so put your contacts in. If you don't have that many contacts, it's time to get out there and start getting contacts. How can you get more contacts?
Reach out Facebook or social media.
Okay, so those are all great. I'll tell you, one of the first places I would start is in your own neighborhood, because if you're like me, you hate seeing those signs up that aren't yours, right? So I don't want to drive in one side or drive out the other side of my neighborhood and see a different sign. So start in your neighborhood, get your tax records, put it into your database, start mining those people, start dripping on them, start calling them, start knocking on their doors, talk to them. That should get you several hundred right there. All right, that's a good place to start. Now, if you don't know how to farm, that'll teach you how to farm really quickly. If there's already signs up, ask people to do open houses in those neighborhoods. Start working them that way. That's how I would start right there. Okay, you'll get contacts in there really quickly. That way. Yeah, 20 deals is what you want to do. You can really quickly do it by just staying that laser focused. Just on the neighborhood. It's not simple. It's not. All right, so all you gotta do is hit the add to smart plan, and then if there's an additional smart plan, which this one comes with a monthly neighborhood nurture, then it's gonna ask you to download them both. And then it's not gonna put a person on it, it's just gonna put it into your library. And then when you want to add somebody to it, when you're in their contact, you can just add them right from there, okay? Or if you wanted to, you can just add from a whole list. When you create a smart plan too, go back to team plans, create your own. I'm sorry, normally I spend a lot of time here showing how you create this. I'm just gonna run through it really quickly. And if you guys have more questions on it, I'll make sure Franco knows how to do it really well, and you guys can ask him a little bit about that. Just go easy on it. This is new guy. I've got to download it all. All right, so you got create task in here, which is as simple as hey, send out a card. You've got make a phone call. We should all know that. We've got send an email. We've got send a text message. We've got set a delay, add smart plan, and restart this plan. Okay, so those are all triggers we can put in here. And once we put a trigger in here, let's just say, okay, I got to create a task. We can also put these little merge fields in there. So what that does is puts their name or your name in there. So you don't have to do the guesswork. So when I create smart plans, I never put thanks Ryan Yarbrough in there. I put thanks, and then I use these merge tags, put agent first name, agent last name in there. That way, if I share my plan with anybody, they don't have my name on there. Other agents don't do that. So if you download their plans, go check and make sure their names aren't in the signature field, because you don't want to be sending emails on their behalf. Okay. So go back and check it. If not, put the merge fields in there. It also is helpful when you're on a team because it allows your agents to be featured on that, just depending upon who's been assigned to it. Okay. So put their name in it, they're the assignee.
Should we be using those merge tags anyway, even on the existing smart plans, because they all come up with your full name? Sounds
I would.
really impersonal.
Yeah, I would definitely. I like when the emails say, at least the first name.
Yeah.
Depends on the client, I guess, but at least the first name.
Right, okay.
The other thing that's in here too is once you've got a couple in here, there'll be I'm not going to go into it right in a second, but there'll be a section in here once you save the plan that allows you to add a trigger to it. So like I used that smart plan I was talking about earlier. It was a simple phone call. That's all it was. Because I want a task of making a phone call and say, hey, Stephanie, tell me all about your day. Tell me how many kids do you have? How many, all these things I'm trying to fill out in the contact information. That's all that plan was. But if I wanted to easily add that to somebody, it'll allow me to put a trigger on here, which would be simply putting a tag on here. So if I wanted to, I could assign the fix me tag that I was talking about as a trigger. So anytime I add the fix me tag to somebody, it automatically puts them on that smart plan. And it starts immediately. So you'll automatically show up my task list. You can do that with any smart plan. So think of how you could use that if you had a monthly neighborhood nurture and you put somebody in your own neighborhood, you would automatically assign that tag to them, put a specific tag on. So just think through that, how you would use that. All right. Any questions in here before I get at smart plans? Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Think about this. Anything you do in the day that is done repeatedly, that doesn't require you to actually make the phone call, but maybe just give you a task, you can automate that. You don't have to think about this stuff. All these tasks show up right here when you're done. The goal is once you have all these tasks to somebody, and you've got all these contacts in here, your day starts right here in this task area. So when I come into this task area, I have contact tasks and I have opportunity tasks. And just as an FYI, we are working right now to combine them because we realize that's kind of not how we look at things. So we're going to combine those here really soon. You'll be able to filter them out. But as you can see, Stephanie's task shows up there. If any of you have the command app, tasks is in your app, I should see Stephanie on here. I can easily go ahead and complete right through my phone really quickly. So my morning is going to start here. Our regional director, Mark Olich, I set this up on his. He starts calling the top 100 people. He's going right from this. He's got a list of the top 100, and he goes through this and starts using it. Excuse me. So hopefully that makes sense, that this is a faster way of doing it, because I know as an agent, my biggest hiccup was, what do I do? How do I start my day? What am I going to do? Who do I talk to first? This tells you, because it puts your tasks in there. You can set priorities on here. So if you wanted to, you can come right here, look at priorities, and I can filter based on priorities and deal with my high priorities first. So that's a reason to do that. Why do I put a priority on it? Well, when I start my day, these are my high priorities. Somebody told me I need this first thing in the morning. They become high priority. Put them in priority of high. Become your task list in the morning. Let's go through the list and just knock them all out. All right. Same thing with opportunity tasks. If you have certain things that you're doing opportunities, which we're going into very next, if there's something in there that needs to be done today, it'll show up in your task list. You're not getting distracted by going to all these other different applets and places. You're in one place, knock out your tasks for the day. Okay? Any questions around it? So everything I showed you in contacts this morning, or it started this morning, up until now has really come up into this point. I wanted you guys to get the point of why you're doing this stuff, why you're putting them on a task, why you're putting them on a smart plan. It helps organize your day and lets you focus on what's important. Lead generating, lead follow-up. Lead follow-up is where you miss it, guys. I can tell you how to put contacts in all day long, but if you don't follow up with contacts, what's the point? This is your follow-up system.
The fortune is in the follow-up.
Absolutely. It's all the magic's right there, glitter and gold. And you can filter on when it's due, today, next 7 days, 30 days, whatever. I will give you a tip here. Learn this, because sometimes it gets overwhelming if you have too many tasks. If you go past 30, I think it's 30 days, or it's 90. I think it's 90. You go past 90 days, it goes to your past due. You can't bring it back from the dead. Once it's past due, it's gone. It's sitting there, you can see it, and it laughs at you pretty much. It sits in past due and laughs at you. You didn't do your job. All right, so how do you get past that? There's this 3 little dots right here. You click on it and it lets you reschedule it. Just don't let it get to 90 days out. So if I reschedule this, it starts to clock over. So as long as I'm keeping up with it, I say, hey, this isn't something that's high priority today. I don't need to do it today. I can reschedule it for tomorrow or next week, whatever I want. But if I just let something sit there, it'll eventually get past due and I'll go to my past due bucket and I can sit there and go, dang it, I didn't do my job. Thank goodness there's nothing in there. Oh, there's that's you. All right, so does that make sense? All right, use this, guys. Please use it. You're going to see your business go up dramatically because you're staying on task. No pun intended. All right, so we talked contacts, we talked tasks, and we talked smart plans. Opportunities is the last applet we're going to go into today. It is my favorite applet. I like money. So here's my spiel. This is all MREA again. Everything, the way this is designed, all comes from this book, okay? Listings, buyers, and leases, your pipelines, okay? And we identified that there are phases and stages to the way we do our deals. Now, when I take this book, I can erase this word right here, real estate agent, and it's millionaire, whatever you want. If I want to go set up a website and sell t-shirts, which I do, I sell t-shirts to the Market Center Tech Trainers, and there's all these different t-shirts we have in there. If I set that site up, I can do the same process in here. I can cultivate a relationship with them because I can say, hey, I'm selling t-shirts. Here's my website. That's me cultivating, okay? And there might be different things I need to do in that process. First of all, I need to get on a call and tell them. Second of all, I need to create a website and give that website to them. And then I need to keep following up with them to make sure that they know about it. So that's me cultivating a relationship with that client. Now, once they actually go to my website, now they're in their appointment stage. Because now they're on my website, they're browsing around, looking at the different things I put on there. If it's not grabbing their attention, then I probably need to put some better products on that site, get their attention. When they actually go and click on something and add it to their cart, that's them becoming active. They put something into their cart, just like on Amazon. They put it in their cart, okay? You're actively getting ready to buy something. Now, once they've got it in their cart, and they go to put their credit card information in, now it's under contract, all right? Once that shirt arrives to them, now it's closed. Close that transaction. All right, so same process for a house, right? The difference is all the tasks that we do in between, that's all the phases. The stages are different depending upon what business we're selling. Still the same model though, okay? It's still the MREA. So when we go into that My Cultivate stage, I promise you guys it's gonna look very different than what yours looks like. Because I'm a stalker. I stalk my clients. Somebody says to me, hey, I got a lead for you on a listing. First thing I'm doing is stages. I go to these 10 items right here. I get the phone number of the lead. I confirm the address of the lead. I confirm the email of the lead. I locate the social media outlet that they have. I get their birthday. Does this sound familiar? What is this?
The tax.
Absolutely. And you have an understanding of why I have this in here?
Do we all have that?
No. This is my custom one. This is what I put in there. I would if I was you, but that's me. But why do I put that in there? Keeps me on track. This is a team thing here, okay? My whole team gets this. So I want to make sure everybody does it like I do. I want them to do the same thing as I'm doing. Therefore, my task list, just because I do that every single time doesn't mean they do it. So now they've got a checklist they need to go through and they need to do what I told them to do. And this is their checklist. They need to go through and do it. We have a client update to the far right of that. Now, where I'm at right now is the master list, which means this is where I'm creating my list, but this applies to everybody in every single phase. So when I click client update, which I don't want to in this stage because I'm stalking them. I don't normally tell people I'm stalking them. So when I click client update, that's kind of the point. Is when I check this off the list, it tells them what I just did. Who's a listing agent? All right, great. So Linda, how many times have you gone on a listing appointment and they said, why am I going to give you 6%, 7%?
Often.
Okay.
Almost all the time.
They say, okay, somebody else is going to give me 4%, right? Or 5%. So what do you tell them?
Well, you gotta let them know your value proposition and why
key
you're
right
worth the 6%.
Well, she says exactly right. It's your value proposition. We said that at the beginning, it's in the book, right? It's your value proposition is what the MRA is all around, is your value. In the absence of value, it's always about money, correct? So what did we talk about yesterday? If I was to ask you to buy a taco from me, why are you going to buy a taco from me rather than buying it from Franco?
My tacos are delicious.
His tacos are delicious and they're $1 per taco. My tacos are $5 per taco. Why are you going to buy them from me or him?
Yours are organic.
Yours are Kobe beef.
All right, now we're getting into value. All right. Same thing. Here's my favorite example. Go to Publix. Walk up to a shelf where there's peas on the shelf. There's 3 different brands on the shelf. Which brand are you choosing? See, look, we've already got 2 different values.
Depends on opinion, yeah.
Exactly. So it's 2 different values. So you need to know your value statement and what you're offering. What I do is I do kind of the same thing as I let them choose. I let them choose on what they want. I've got 3 levels of service. For 4%, this is what I offer. For 5%, this is what I offer. For 6%, this is what I offer. And guess what? I've got this bonus section right here for 7. We do go overboard on it. How bad do you want to sell your house? But they know what they're getting for that value. You can do that, or you can just say, you know what? My value statement is 6%. I stick at 6%, and this is what you get for it. Now, when you say that, do you have like a point list that you have? Like we do 109 different things for you during this listing.
I don't, so this is great.
That's a great thing. So what I suggest you do is go and look at how you do your business. If you have a system around what you do, take a diary. So if you got a remarkable, take a remarkable. If you got a piece of paper pad, take a piece of paper pad. And every time you do something during a listing, write down everything. Every time you call the lender, write down. Every time you call a title company, write down. Every time you call the inspection company, write down. Write all these things down. And then you have a running diary of everything you've done on that listing. And then go through and mark all the ones that you repeatedly do pretty much on every single listing. Put them in here. It becomes your task list. And then everybody does it the way you do it, and you do it the way you do it every single time. And then you go through that list and say, what of this stuff is of value to my clients? Why is this valuable to them? Am I telling them? Because when I go to a listing appointment, I say, I'm going to do all these things for you. And then we get to the closing table. And it's like, okay, I thought you were going to do all this stuff for me. I did. When? They don't know you're doing it. How long? So put it in here, put as a client update. And what happens is when you check these boxes off, every day, it'll automatically send an email out for you, telling them what you did for them. I'll show you what that email looks like. So there's a little gear right here next to client updates. You click on it. Even for you, for your PC coaching, I would be running it on your backside too, doing the exact same thing. What are the things you do for them?
Yeah, what I ended up doing after our last conversation is that I now have everyone in the program under my personal, right?
Absolutely.
And I added them into a smart plan that reminds them of the trainings that are happening every week.
Perfect.
I have Twilio working on it, so.
You're ahead of most of them then.
Little by little, but I appreciate everything that you offer because it's so valuable.
10 o'clock, 10:30 on here is what it defaults to. So if you want to email to go at 10:30, it's fine. Because if I do something on Monday, 10:30 on Tuesday, they're going to email everything you did. I don't like it that way, so I set it for 5:30, maybe 6:30. So everything I did from that day, at the end of the day when they go home and they're sitting in their living room looking on their phone or in bed looking at their phone that night, they'll see my email in there stating this is the stuff I did for them. And what that looks like is, let's see if this is
While you're
in a
looking
way.
for that, Brian, too, I also went under reports and I set it up where it automatically sends a reminder to put stuff in the activity tracker.
Nice, good job.
So, yeah.
That's great. So here is the email. It automatically shows you right here. If you have a team logo, it'll go in right here. Your headshot goes in here with your name. It has their name here. As long as you've got the listing connected, it puts the listing's name in there for you. And it'll also take the first picture off the MLS, put that in there for you. And then it shows you the items you just checked off. And all you have to do is check the box off. That's it. And it auto sends this for you at that time of day. You can go in here also and you can set up, you can set up who gets these emails. It's sending it to the client and the co-client. It's sending it to the assignees and the owner on the team. So if it's just you by yourself, you're getting a copy and your clients are getting a copy. This is taken from your emails that's coming through command email. You get 5,000 a month free, and then the rest of it you have to pay for. If you want additional emails, it's like $10 for another 5,000, I believe. So be aware of that. I personally, I don't need a copy. I know it's going out, set it up, but maybe people on your team might be reminded that way. They're like, your clients calling them up saying, hey, I got this list, you guys did this for me. And you're like, huh, what are you talking about? That's the only reason I can think of that you would want to send yourself something to remind yourself. But other than that, put it on here. And if you only have one, if you have a husband and wife, but only one of them wants communication, you might want to choose who the primary client is and send them, because again, that's 2 emails going out there. So in this case, I got 4 emails going out every single day. So be careful with that. You get a lot of clients, that'll go away real quick.
Question.
Yes.
So say that it's a slow day and nothing can happen.
Nothing goes out. All right. So only if you check stuff off. That's exactly why I would say put as much as you possibly can in there, and even the littlest things matter, because you know what, for you, like I said, making a call to a tile company probably takes what, 30 seconds for you to do. Just, hey, just check on this file, no big deal. You can throw that in there like 20 times that you checked on it and check it off. For them calling, they don't know what to call, ask about doing anything. It's a value. So
Can you go back to the list of items that you want?
I can bring it to what I've got. It's just cockroach stuff, because I'm just trying to find out who they are. It's all the stuff that's in. Basically, just go back to your profile on contact and put that stuff in there. So get email, get tax records, download the tax records, put in our Google Drive, get the house deed, get the flood map, put in our Google Drive.
You can check those off yourself. You can mark it off on the left side. Or is it
not in here, because this is just the list I'm doing. Like I can add more items right here.
Is there a place that we can go to get a list like that?
In our Google Drive, we have a sample checklist. It's not going to have my stuff on here like this, but it has a sample of what other teams use.
Okay.
This is, I'm just a stalker. Right? The more information to me, the better. And then I can go into client relationships, and I got 6 items in here: follow up on call, confirm all client data, add forward notes to the sections, which just means I'm going to my notes section and I'm following forward. It's like I'm asking about the family, I'm asking about occupation, I'm asking about recreation and dreams, and I'm putting notes about that stuff into the contact. So did I do that? Because I want to make sure my agents and my team are doing that. Again, I'm just trying to train them to do things the way I do things. Text the client and mobile app. And for PC coaching, that's huge, because that's what your whole goal is: teach them how to do it the right
how
way.
to do the business. I can get that from Franco, that's the list.
Yeah. What's that?
So hypothetically, you have multiple, you're on a team that's got back-end people. Does it say who did the task, or is it just?
Yeah, once you, here's the one hang up in command right now that we're working on for teams, is we're trying to make it a little bit easier for the teams, okay? Right now, these tasks are in here, we can assign the tasks, and we put due dates on them when we have the opportunity. The problem is, you have to do it every single time you have an opportunity. So if you have a team who does a lot of business, like you got a petroleum team in here that does a ton of business, right? They got a lot of listings. It's a lot of opportunities to be constantly doing that for. So how do we make that easier? We're trying to right now in labs work on making it so that we can auto assign specific role tasks. So if somebody's the ops manager, specific things go to them, every single listing. So when I'm setting this up, it's not just this follow-up call, it's also, this is assigned to operations manager.
So then the client update would say what? Who did the task?
It will when it gets checked out. Yeah, the main thing for the client update, it won't say who did the task. No,
Okay, 'cause
it's just going to say it's done. That's all it's going to say from the team. But it'll say who's responsible for the tasks for you, so that you know who's responsible for it. And tie down dates is something else that we're really working on, because if you ever use Folio, anybody? Folio? It's a great feature in Gmail. I use it all the time. What it does is you can set a tie down date in there, like, okay, it went under contract at this day, so 3 days after that, escrow is pretty much past due at this point, and then 10 days after that, inspection is due. So these tie down dates, use it to put out whatever you do on your time schedule, and then maybe 3 days before closing, they should have done a walkthrough or something like that. You can put all your specific dates. So we're working on to make it so that you guys can set your specific tie down dates and goals. So that'll eventually be in here, hopefully sooner than later. We went to family reunion, they took all of us RPTs together and said, what's the biggest thing you need? I was like, gotta get teams right. This is one thing. If you want teams in this, gotta make these things, because that's time consuming tasks. So that's one of the main goals. That working on this thing called Windmore. It's ancient. We're trying to turn it to Cloudmore, which is more modern. So that's our biggest push right now. Our goal is to get out of Windmore by Q4 2024. All right, so we talked about checklists in here. All you gotta do is go in here. You can add stages. You can edit stages by clicking on a pencil. You can delete stages. Put whatever you want here. You can see mine's very different. Mine starts with cultivate and goes client discovery, which is getting facts, establishing the relationship, installing value, and then whether they're 3 to 6 months out, 6 to 9 months out, or 9+ months out. I put them in those buckets and then work them from there. Okay. Now, we're gonna go back a bit. When you create an opportunity, you have to put in dates and you have to put in a dollar amount. The reason for that is you have a pipeline, and in your pipeline, I'll go back a little bit more, is how you can kind of gamify it. You see right here, potential income versus probable income. So your probable income means based upon what's in the pipeline right now, and based upon where it sits in the pipeline, that's how much you're probably gonna make. And as you move that through that pipeline, your probability goes up, because as you inch your way closer to the end, the probability gets higher and higher and higher. So it's like a game. It's done on purpose, because we all like playing games. So you want to see that income go up, right? So your goal is to get into your pipeline and work your pipeline. So here's a place to go do it. And then your potential income shows you, based upon the amount you assign to it, the commission you assign to it, and this is how much you could make. So the difference between where you're at and where you could be. Now, whenever you see these two numbers getting close, panic.
Remove this box here.
Box.
Box.
Let's see if I can. Yeah, panic if you see these two numbers get too close. That means your pipeline's drying up. You have no business coming in. You never want to see it. Like, the bigger the gap, the better. To a point. I mean, you want to be working through things through your pipeline, but if this number, potential income, never changes, and this one keeps on changing, there's a problem, because you're about to go out of business. It's kind of like watching the market we were just talking about earlier on, right?
Say that again.
If this number and this number come too close together, you're almost out of business, because that means you're not putting anything in this, and you're moving things through the stage, and you got no more new business. So I got tons in cultivate, which is pretty normal, and you want to keep on moving things through. But if you can't get stuff to start moving, I mean, and you're not adding more business to it, then your number here staying and this moving up, because you're the ones that are working out, but your potential income's not going up. It should go up.
So lead generate.
And these are separated by buckets. So that's your listing, that's your buyer, this is your leases, which we don't do leases in our area. And this puts them all together, so you can see a total of probable of about 100,000, potential of about 620. All right, so try to keep those numbers moving. Never let them sit still. That's your game. That's the fun part. Just keep moving those. Go look at this every day after you finish your tasks.
If you don't mind, maybe I can share my GCI now.